fast around these parts. Next thing you know, it's going to be week 7. Got some news to react to. Also, we're going to break down all the waivers, who to trust, who you shouldn't trust, who's even worth using an actual waiver claim on. Some of these guys are worth a pickup, but you want to use your waiver claim, especially if you're high up in waiver claim. If you play in a FAAB league, what kind of FAAB should you be using on these guys? Got to break down the George Kittle news. He is out for at least bare minimum 4 weeks. So his, I think week 6 is his return date. So we'll break all that down here shortly. Wait for a few people to get in the chat, and we'll start rolling. On before midnight tonight too, so that's different. On my second beer only having a few tonight, so I'll be a very, very articulate. You know what I mean? I'll enunciate my words properly, not get so excited. Although I think you guys like me getting excited, get a little heated up. I get heated up when I talk football. I do that whole shoulder thing. You know what I mean? Waivers are passing through in about 2.5 hours, so you have time to make changes. If you're like me, I don't use a lot of waiver claims unless I really need somebody. So I will just wait till 2:01 a.m. Central Time. Once everyone passes through, I'll be the first one to scoop up that defense, that kicker, that backup running back. Don't want to use a claim on them, but I will pick them up. I used to play with a couple guys that just didn't understand the concept of waivers and how it resets, you know, and like if you had the first claim, you use it, then you go back to 12. And they'd use it on like their kicker and defense, and they'd always be in the bottom of their waiver claims. And just, you know, certain stuff like that is important in fantasy, like just understanding the rules and putting yourself in the best position to succeed later in the year. And that's saving your waiver claim, honestly. And I have heard, and I kind of do agree, that early in the year is the most valuable because you're possibly getting a starter or impact player for the entire year. Whereas if you wait till week 13, you're only getting 3 or 4 weeks of production. So for me, though, I want possible league winners. When you start getting to week 4, week 5, if you have a 1-4 record, you have to be a little more vigilant because, you know, it's now or never, right? You go 1-5, your chances of making the fantasy playoffs is like 20%. So we don't want to wait too long, but using all your FAAB or using an early waiver claim on Juwan Johnson, for instance, do we even know Juwan Johnson's going to be good? And I recall last year, remember everyone used their waiver claim on Isaiah Likely because he had that giant game against the Chiefs. He had like 9 catches, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And that ended up being a terrible decision. So I just always say tread carefully. We're going to talk through all these guys and see, you know, who's worth it for you, right? Who's worth the claim, if they're even worth a claim. Depends on your situation as well. I wouldn't go pick up a backup tight end. Harold Fannon's different, but I wouldn't just pick up Juwan Johnson if you already have Tucker Kraft, for instance, or someone that's, you know, Tyler Warren, Dallas Goedert. Like if you already have an established dude, it's probably not worth using a waiver claim on a question mark, especially at tight end. Same with backup running backs. You know, I want them on my roster, but I'm not going to use my waiver claim on Blake Corum necessarily. And I love Blake Corum, but do I want to use a waiver claim on him unless I have Kyron? Maybe. But let someone else use their claim. Get your claim up higher, right? We want to be that top one or two, so that when we do have a major injury, week 5, week 6, week 7, we can pounce, and we have the edge there. I play in a few leagues that they let us trade our waiver claim. So like having the first waiver claim is important because you can throw that in a trade. It's like a draft pick. So I've seen a lot of trades that go down like that. All right, once we get this chat popping a little bit, we get more people in here, we'll go through the waivers, and I'll talk about George Kittle here in a minute. But pretty rough, man. George Kittle has stayed relatively healthy the last 2 years. I think he's only missed like 3 games in the last 2 years. Early in his career, he was known to miss 4 or 5 games. Dude plays super, super aggressive, amazing blocker. This was a non-contact little hamstring injury. Not good, though. So not good for the Niners. Not good for George Kittle owners. Not good for Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy's hurt himself. So this really hurts Brock Purdy. So if you were starting Brock Purdy, Benny says, these hamstrings are killers. Those hamstrings are killers. Yes, they are, man. Wish they could just cut them off, right? Just cut them off. Just cut them off. But if you have Brock Purdy as your starter, I mean, this is a problem. Juwan Jennings is also hurt. Like, his weapons are just decimated. Right now, he has Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey. That is not ideal. So if I was banking on Brock Purdy as my starter, I would definitely look for another option. Besides the fact that he might not even play, and now you have a toe injury, and I think it's a calf injury. I know the toe is the worst of the two, but that's going to limit. One of the things about Brock Purdy we like is he's a miniature scrambler, right? He gets you 250, 300 yards in a year scrambling. These next couple of weeks, if he's playing hurt, without George Kittle, without Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk's not back yet, you're looking at a pocket passer and a game manager. We don't want that. So definitely a big problem for Brock Purdy. Definitely a big problem for the 49ers. This is every year with this team, man. I don't know what it is, what's in the water down there, but Kyle Shanahan, I don't know if he's running a boot camp in practice. His training staff sucks. Who knows, dude? But it's like every year we have a couple teams that get hurt, right? That just get the injury bug. It feels like every year the Niners are decimated. Every fucking year. So I feel sorry for 49ers fans, man. They've had a good run, but I just don't see the Niners. I think their window's passed. And this is their last year, honestly, because their defense is not great. Their players are old. They have Brock Purdy. They had to pay Brock Purdy. So I think his major cap hits come in 2026, 2027, 2028. And I just don't think Brock Purdy's really that great to be earning that kind of money. So you got to win now, or you're just going to have a 500 team. So in the chat, what are your guys' thoughts on George Kittle injury? Do you have George Kittle? How are you looking to replace George Kittle? Ben makes a good point in the comments. They could really use Debo right about now. Yeah, man, that's another loss. Like they thought that they could replace him because you do have some decent receivers there, and George Kittle's been a beast. But this is rough, and I'm glad they put him on IR because knowing George Kittle, that dude's a badass. I could see him trying to play through it, or not play through it, but come back too soon. This way, he's forced to miss 4 games. Nothing he can do about it. Even if he says he feels better, he's got to wait till week 6. So I do like that. Especially as a George Kittle owner, I would like that. Me personally, don't have any George Kittle stocks, so besides best ball. Again, I love George Kittle, though. It's a shame. Like, that's a really fun player to watch. Can't go wrong with George Kittle. But it just sucks. So, let me know if you're hurting from the George Kittle injury. We're going to try to make it right. Find the right tight end. And you might be able to find the right tight end without even using your waiver claim, baby. Just wait for him to pass through. Got 3 or 4 guys on here that are good. Teens, Nugs. Kittle is always hurt. McBride all day at this point. The thing is, man, Kittle hasn't been hurt the last 2 years. He's played almost full seasons. So this is a shame because he's older. I think he's 31, but he's been playing the best ball of his career right now. Ben says, I wouldn't even trust Pearsall the next few weeks if Purdy is hurt. I get he's the only option, but they're gonna run the ball 70 times. I mean, I would trust Pearsall just because he is the only guy, but I think his touchdown upside would go down, which would hurt him. But you're only starting him as a wide receiver 3 anyway, so I don't feel like it's the worst thing in the world. We are going to move to running back ads first. We're going to talk about some running back ads. It's kind of a weak selection. I'm only going guys owned like 25% or less. We'll go 50% or less on the wide receivers, but here's a couple names for you. Blake Corum, again, I'm not using a waiver claim on any of these guys. If I had Kyron Williams or I had Jonathan Taylor, maybe more so Jonathan Taylor because Jonathan Taylor's a little beat up right now. We don't know the injury. I would probably use my waiver claim on DJ Giddens. If I had Kyron Williams, I'd debate using it on Blake Corum, but these are guys I'm going to wait for the waivers to pass and scoop them up for my last bench spot. Like I have Will Shipley in a lot of leagues. Tank Bigsby gets traded there. Will Shipley has broken ribs anyway. So in general, I'm dropping Will Shipley everywhere. And the first 3 guys in this list are stashes, right? Kareem Hunt, 18%. If you're in a deep league or you're hurting a running back, I could see picking up Kareem Hunt because he's probably the most playable. He is the most playable of all these guys to get you 8 or 10 points. But I'm personally not touching Kareem Hunt. I want upside on my bench. Kendra Miller is an interesting name because he's barely played in the NFL. This is his 3rd year. He looks to be the clear number 2 behind Alvin Kamara, even getting some decent run. I think he played like 25% of the snaps. And he looks pretty good, man. Like there was times when I was watching the game, I look up and I was kind of multitasking and I'm like, is that Alvin Kamara with the ball? Because he had the same like white strips on their arm, that tape. So Kendra Miller looks good. I know it's not ideal to have a running back for the Saints, especially a backup running back. But I am in for Kendra Miller as like a last bench spot stash. Whoa. Corrupted Chubby saying Olave is a hard fade. He had 13 targets, man. Dylan Sampson's owned too much. I didn't want to put him in this list because he's owned in like 50% of leagues. So like most leagues, he's not available. I don't think he's available in any of my 25 leagues. So I know there might be some like shallow home leagues. I get it, but I feel like that's pretty obvious. But hey, Chubby, what is your reasoning here for hating on the Olave? Like that he's a hard fade because he got a little dinged up in week 1? Because he did. We're not denying that. But he had 13 targets, and you had hospital balls being thrown over the middle. He finished the game. So I don't know. 13 targets for Chris Olave. That's money, baby. I am all in there. So Blake Corum, though, for me, it's apparent that he is the clear handcuff. Jarquez Hunter was inactive. A healthy scratch for week 1. So Blake Corum is the guy. He didn't get a lot of work. He got like 10 snaps. I don't care. This is the last bench spot. Again, none of these guys are worth a waiver claim. Just guys to stash once waivers get over. And again, if you have Will Shipley, time to drop him. He's out. Get out. Get out. We love you, Will Shipley. Those hits are going to get him sooner or later. Later, my guy, 5 or 6 concussions. The targets are there, but need the guy the last season. I know. He's a 6th, 7th round pick, so I think it's worth the risk. But we got Achu P saying, is Kenneth Gainwell good? I did not put Kenneth Gainwell on this list. I probably should have, but I'm not a believer. It's Arthur Smith. He actually out-snapped, so he had 54% of the snaps, and Warren had 44, and then you had Caleb Johnson having like 2 snaps. If you really are hurting, man, I think Kareem Hunt and then Kenneth Gainwell are the 2 guys that you could pick up if you're really hurting, which would have to be like, I'm trying to think. That would be if you drafted RJ Harvey and you don't feel like starting him, or maybe you drafted Kenneth Walker. But like, I'm not starting Kenneth Gainwell over Harvey or Kenneth Walker. So I just don't ever see the world where Kenneth Gainwell is a lead back there. Arthur Smith never has a lead back, and I still believe in Caleb Johnson. Bay shall tootin' to the moon, though. Damn straight, baby. I was getting worried about my shares when they didn't trade ETN originally, and then, of course, they wait till after week 1. They dress 4 running backs week 1. Super, super wacky situation, but someone dropped Aaron Gordon. Should I get him or Quentin? Yeah, I was like, Aaron Gordon, this fantasy basketball? Aaron Jones or Quentin? Aaron Jones, man. We're gonna get to wide receivers here in a second. I dropped him for JCM though. Yeah, JCM looks. I didn't put him on the list either. I put running backs lower than like 10% or 20%. We're gonna get to wide receivers though, and this is a big week for wide receivers. So I kind of tiered this. Hollywood Brown is the preferred ad, and that's more of a short-term ad because we don't know Xavier Worthy's injuries yet. We know it's a shoulder. He might be back in 1 or 2 weeks. He's going to try to play through it, which I don't like for Xavier Worthy owners because that guy's tiny. He's going to get hurt again, and he's just going to be limited, right? You got Rashee Rice coming back week 7. So Hollywood Brown is at best like a 5-week rental where you're looking at like a comfortable start. Quentin Johnston, I like Quentin Johnston more than most last year. I don't. Same with Keenan Allen. I just don't. This is a Lad McConkey show, bro, and they're going to run the ball a lot more. What kind of names you talking here, Chubby? Again, I wanted to go guys that were owned in 25% or less, because the other guys I feel like are just a lot more obvious. But yeah, throw out some names on there in the chat. I didn't put everyone in here, obviously. I'm just kind of going off the majority of my leagues, which are 12-team, full PPR with pretty deep benches. I would definitely Cedric Tillman. Well, the reason he's not in any of my waiver wires is I have Cedric Tillman in every league. I think he's like 50% owned. Yeah, I mean I've been talking about Cedric Tillman since June. He's the number 1 in he will be the number 1 in Cleveland before long. Except for Fannin might take his role. But as far as your question, Aaron Jones is the play still because Aaron Jones is a playable guy week to week. And if anything happens to Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones is like maybe a low-end RB1. I didn't like his usage against the Bears, but it's still Aaron Jones. And we're talking about, who was the other guy you're talking about? Quentin Johnston. Dude, Quentin Johnston is just going to be so inconsistent. You're never, like, the weeks you start him, he's going to go 2 for 12. And when you bench him in a tough matchup, he's going to have 2 touchdowns. Look at Friday night. You can keep on naming some names and we'll go over them. But Hollywood Brown, though, if you need a receiver, if you're hurting, if you had Worthy, or you drafted someone that's not panning out, or you're a Rashee Rice owner and you were banking on someone working out and they're not working out, I think Hollywood is a steady wide receiver 3 in this meantime. Kayshon Boutte, I think it's Kayshon Boutte, 2% owned, man. He was the leading receiver in New England, and Stephon Diggs is still working back. Diggs played 47% of the snaps. I expect that to slowly climb up, but the thing about Diggs is he's never been an 80-90% snap share player, even in his prime. He's been like a mid-70s guy. He doesn't play in a lot of running plays. So I expect 3 or 4 weeks of them slowly ramping him up. Next week he'll probably play 52%. The week after, 58%. Then he'll finally get up to 70% where he will settle at. But Kayshon Boutte, the thing is, I was actually like looking him up and doing some research on him. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and he just disappointed a little bit his senior year. Or it might have been his junior year in college. So he has the pedigree. It's not like a household name. I didn't know about him coming out, but he killed it the last 3 games with Drake May last year. They're not, apparently they don't trust Kyle Williams there, and Pop Douglas is strictly a slot guy. So Boutte could be like he played every snap. So I'm not a big Drake May dude. We got Wan'Dale Robinson owned at 40%. I want nothing to do with the Giants. So, Don Bond. I passed on Ibuka for Diggs. I'm an idiot. Early in the draft season, like 3 weeks before the season started, I would have probably done the same thing. But all the hype, and then when they officially put Godwin on IR, it was just kind of an obvious pick. But I don't blame you, dude. It's Stephon Diggs, dude. He'll be fine. We got Tillman, Trey Tucker. I don't want to get into the Chiefs wide receiver room. It's a bit messy. It's not messy right now because if Worthy is out, you're looking at Juju Smith-Schuster, who's okay. You're looking at Thornton, who's really fast, but dude, he flopped. He's from a first-round pick that couldn't even hold the Patriots roster. So I think they have a role for him. But Hollywood was the clear. He got 14 targets, dude. Was it 16? It was a fuckload of targets. So I think Hollywood's the safe play for the next couple weeks. So are you guys in on Boutte? Yeah, I'm just CK. I'm not really into Wan'Dale personally. I just they still have other guys there. Theo Johnson's going to catch more balls. They're still going to give a million targets to Neighbors. No on Boutte. We don't like the Boutte. Ray is questionable. Yeah. I didn't put I didn't put the last guy on this list we're going to talk about. We'll get to him in a second. But Josh Palmer, 25%. I do like this. So Josh Palmer's going to be one of those guys that's going to play. He played 70% of the snaps. He is the clear number 3. But we have Dalton Kincaid not playing very much. He's the clear number 3 in Buffalo, which is a passing attack you want to be tied to. And this is more like a stash in your bench because if anything happens to the other 2 receivers there, if Keon Coleman gets hurt, if Shakir gets hurt, you're looking at Josh Palmer playing almost every snap. So I am a fan of that. And he looked pretty good, man. He looked pretty good. Knob Goblin says 8 targets, 100 yards. Sounds like a good flex on Boutte. Yeah, I know it's just one game, but the thing is, if we look back to what happens the last 3 or 4 games of 2024, we had some really good performances from Boutte. He was the number 1 guy. So Boutte. Anyway, let's move on. I think Josh Palmer, you could do worse. If you ask me if I want Quentin Johnson or Josh Palmer, I'm taking Josh Palmer personally because they both kind of have the same. What up, Leafy Greens? They both kind of had the same role. So I would probably take Josh Palmer over QJ. Calvin Austin only owned in 3% of leagues. He is going to be the number 2 there. Now, Corrupted said Alec Pierce is also a low-end upside stash. Adonai Mitchell. Dubs is also, Dubs played the most snaps of any Green Bay receiver. That is just such a mess, but I do like Dubs. He seems to be the only healthy one right now because Wicks and Reed came into the year hurt and are still kind of nursing injuries. And you got Matthew Golden, I guess, hurt himself a little bit. He only played 47% of the snaps. So Golden hurt himself at the end of the game. So literally, Dubs is the only one that doesn't have an injury designation for this game, Thursday Night Football. I'm trying to make the lives. I'm new here. All good, Leafy. I got to be more consistent on the times. Usually it's midnight for most of these, because every other streamer's off, and that's the only way people will watch my janky ass channel. But I appreciate you. Calvin Austin, I'm not buying into that. They're a run first team, but I get the touchdown upside. You got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball there. See, a guy having green here is one of my favorites for the week. Again, I don't think any of these guys, maybe Butte and Hollywood, are the only guys worth an actual waiver move for, like using your waiver claim. Alec Iomanner is one you don't have to use your claim for, but you can easily get him after waivers pass and stash him on your bench. He is officially the number 2 in Tennessee. Ooh, I should have put Tesla on here. Colby. Good call. Thank you. That's why I got you on here. Thielen, Adam Thielen's done. He is terrible. I don't know if you watched the game last night. No, I don't want anything. They're not going to pass the ball very much there anyway. Oh, yeah, corrupted. We all got duped on the Matthew Golden thing. He went from like a 12th rounder to a 10th rounder to at the last week of drafts. I think, honestly, I took him in a couple spots. I took him in like the 8th or 9th round, dude. Maybe 8th. I saw him go in the 7th, bro. Tesla should be on this list. And I actually think Tesla, again, I don't know if he's worth a waiver move in terms of like using your waiver priority on him. You can just wait for him to clear waivers. But I think he's going to have a role in this offense, considering he played 3 snaps and caught a touchdown. I know it was like garbage time. He is one injury away from being like an every week wide receiver 3, like for sure. Mims is drafted. Yeah. Mims played 50% of the snaps, which is actually a lot for him. I'm just a little down on Denver in general. At least they're passing. Yeah, Tesla's only 27% of sleeper. I should have had him on here. I kind of threw this together pretty quick. But I do want to talk about Alec Iomanner, a name that not a lot of people are talking about. His stat line looks shitty. 7 targets, 2 catches, like 14 yards. He had a 30-yard catch that got called back from a stupid penalty. And then he had another one that would have been like a 40-yarder that just got tipped out of his hands. So this dude's playing every snap on the Titans. He's a monster, dude. I don't know if you ever heard of him out of Stanford. He's a rookie. The other rookie, Kamir Dyke or whatever, will only play on special teams. Tyler Lockett's toast. He barely played. If Tyler Lockett's not playing week 1 against that defense, he's getting phased out already. This is Alec Iomanner's job to lose. Like, he's a good player, man. He's dynamic. He's an ex-receiver. And Calvin Ridley, they want to move him around the formation. But for me, he's going to get a lot of targets. They're going to throw the ball. Fuckload. And if anything happens to Calvin Ridley, Iomanner's going to be a weekly starter. Tillman is owned in too many leagues, Ryan. I didn't think of him because I have him. I have Tillman in like 14 leagues. So I just figured he was drafted everywhere. But yeah, if Tillman's available, Tillman and Keon Coleman would be like the tops of this list. I'm going like deep guys that are available in almost every league. Hollywood Brown's owned in a decent amount of them, but most of the other guys are available. I have Troy Franklin on here, 2% owned. Leafy, the Colts are gonna be feisty this year, man. They look feisty. They got one of the best running backs in the league. Their offensive line's solid. Daniel Jones is at least, Daniel Jones, we're calling him Danny Dollar now. At least after week 1, Danny Dollar. Next week he might be Danny Nickel. Maybe back to Danny Dimes. Maybe Danny Penny. We don't know. But he's at least professional. Like, he's an NFL quarterback as a passer, where Anthony Richardson is just not that. Can't read defenses. Is not accurate. So, and their defense, dude, their defense was flying around. Now, I don't know how much of that was the Dolphins just being fucking a minor league team, or are they legit? Yeah, but Sully, it sucks that Andrew Luck retired. That's a shame because he was going to be an all-timer. But you had Peyton Manning and you had Andrew Luck. I'm from Chicago, so like you had those 2 quarterbacks back to back. We've never had a quarterback. And apparently we still don't have a quarterback. So I don't feel too sorry for you as a Colts fan, because what sucks is you guys only won 1 Super Bowl. I do feel sorry for you on that front, because you should have won, I'd say 2 or 3 if it wasn't for Tom Brady. CK, dude, nobody knows about the JT injury. It was like a phantom injury. They didn't report it during the game because I was actually watching that game on one of my screens, like in full with the audio on. When I saw he wasn't in the game. And I think it was a combination of a little tweak something, and that game, like the score did not reflect how much of a blowout that game was. Like they might as well have been up 50-0 because the Dolphins had no chance of scoring. It was minor league football out there. So I think they just said, screw it, let's give DJ Giddens a look. But DJ Giddens, in my opinion, with what I saw, with the trust they gave him in an NFL game, needs to be up there right below the Ray Davis and Algier, that tier of handcuffs, because Jonathan Taylor is prone to get hurt, and that's a good running system, right? Nax says, should I start Keon Coleman? I definitely would start Keon Coleman. The only worry is midway through the fourth quarter, 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he had 30 yards receiving. And they were one possession away. If Baltimore doesn't punt that ball at 15, they go down to score. They might be resting their starters, and Keon Coleman ends with a line of 3 for 30. So he looked really good, though. Leafy says, I have CMC, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes in my fantasy. Wow, trade. I would trade Pat Mahomes. I mean, I don't know why you want both those guys. Jay Taylor will be hurt by week 4. I really hope not, because I love watching Jonathan Taylor play football. But you guys want to move on? Anyone else you want to talk about at wide receivers? But I bleed green. Panic level for Pacheco. It's a 9, bro. It's a 9. And super flex. That's fine. It's a 9 for Pacheco. I don't know why they love Kareem Hunt. I don't know why they keep on using Kareem Hunt. It's fucking wacky, bro. But they trust Kareem Hunt. They use him on passing downs. They use him on short yardage downs. So at this point, we're looking at a pass-first team that has bad run blocking and wants to literally play Kareem Hunt 40% of the snaps. So he's not going to get a lot of receptions, and he's not going to get the goal line work. And you're banking on the only way he's scoring a touchdown right now, it looks like, if they don't score 35 or 40 points in a game, he needs to break off a 60-yard touchdown. That's just not how I like to start my guys in fantasy. I want guys that get those free touchdowns. I want those guys that get 4 or 5 receptions, and he looks like neither. And I like Pacheco as a player. He's a good little player. He's not a great player. And this is hell, man. This is fucking hell. So I benched him. I'm benching him for Javonte Williams in a week. And would you guys do that? Would you bench Javonte? Would you bench Pacheco for Javonte Williams? Sully says, Tillman and Butte are my favorite waiver ads. Tillman for sure. I'm using a waiver claim on Tillman. I'm probably not using a waiver claim on Butte because he's an unknown name. He's owned in 2%. I think he might pass through waivers and you can scoop him up. So, okay. So 50, you just said it. If you're literally fine with starting Javonte Williams, who was an 8th or 9th round pick in fantasy this year, sometimes 10th round. I know it's just been 1 week, but let's just do this exercise. Pacheco was a 4th rounder. After 1 week, we're talking about starting the 10th rounder without any injuries. It's not like Williams is now getting a bigger role because of an injury. He just was the starter coming into the year. We all knew that. So we're talking about starting a 10th rounder over a 4th rounder after 1 week. That gives me a 9 on the panic meter, right? Like almost a 10. It's Kenneth Walker. I think I'm more worried about Pacheco than Kenneth Walker because Kenneth Walker, I feel like, is just a better player. Unfortunately, he's got a better, Charbonnet is more of a threat than Kareem Hunt would be. Isn't that wild, Colby? We're literally talking Javonte Williams over Pacheco, but you have to make that play. You have to. You got to go where the snaps are at. You got to go where the touchdowns are going to be. We're going to move to tight ends because tight ends is juicy. You know, we got George Kittle out right now. We have some other tight ends busting. Mark Andrews. I would still personally start Mark Andrews. It's insane. It's a riddle. They score 40 points and Mark Andrews gets 1 catch for 5 yards. But there'll be better days ahead. I would say he's going to catch a touchdown for sure against the Browns this week. Also, we have a little promotion we're doing here. We're way away from the goal right now. I'm going to be on here for another hour or so. 50 likes and 50 subs on this video. I'm going to give away a free $10 bet. I'll hit you up in the chat. I'll get your information. I'll place any bet you want in the NFL this week. If you win, I'll pay it out on Venmo. Get your information. Boom. Free bet for you guys. Just trying to give back and help grow the channel a little bit. I've already given away one of these because we actually hit the goal once. We had 46 likes, and I said, fuck it, I'm going to give it away. But if we get close to 50 and 50, I'm giving that away. I also just did win a $1,600 parlay, risking $10 on Sunday night. So I had a huge gambling weekend, a huge fantasy weekend. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling hyped. We're going to get to tight ends here. Now, tight ends is juicy. This is a very, very good list of tight ends. Here we go. CK, we're getting right to your thing here. Let's get some of these questions real quick. Ben says, yes, 100% start. He said 1,000% start Javonte. I think the Chiefs are worried Pacheco will get hurt again, so they're going to give him more workload to Hunt. I don't know if they're in that position right now. We'll see, because if they start losing, they're going to have to play their best player. They should always play their best player. It's not like Isaiah Pacheco is like CMC or something. We got agreed. Dom Brown does have more upside, even if it's only 4 or 5 games till Rice comes back. CK needs tight end help. I got you there. Drop Ertz for Jawan Jennings or Fannin. I mean, Zach Ertz got a touchdown, bro. So like he's gonna be fine. I think you might want to just roster both of them, dude. You start Ertz a couple more weeks because he's a safe option, and you see what happens. I'm not a Jawan Johnson believer. I have Jawan Johnson everywhere as my last pick in best ball. They paid him a lot of money, but you got other guys there. You got Kamara got 2 targets, man. Like that's not going to happen again. I think there's going to be a quarterback change at some point. Like I like Juwan Johnson, he's a safe option, but I want to shoot for the moon. Like Harold Fannin's the dude. You think Hawkinson will put up points this week, dude? Hawkinson looked like dog shit. Dog shit. Yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys watched that game. He looked terrible. He looked slow. He almost looked like Travis Kelce out there, like recent Travis Kelce. Can't move anymore, and McCarthy was not looking his way at all. So I'm a little worried, man. If you have Tyler Warren, you're goated, bro. You're good. Tucker Kraft, I feel the same way. Those 2 dudes for the late, like, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th round tight end you took, those guys are safe and steady. Start every week. Don't even think about it. Sharps are better than K9. K9 explosive, yes, but Sharps can also do the same thing and is a bigger back. That's from Corrupted. I agree, man. He's taking that job. Jennings, no Tungus. I thought about putting him on here because the thing is, if Jennings misses, Juwan Jennings misses, and you have Kittle out, and Brock Purdy plays, I think Tungus deserves to be on this list. He should be right there with Michael Mayer because I have Michael Mayer on this list at 0%, just for the sheer fact that we haven't heard anything about Brock Bowers. We heard he's fine, but I saw him come up lame with his knee injury and not play the rest of the game. So Michael Mayer was already playing 55% of the snaps with Brock Bowers in the game healthy. Michael Mayer looks great. So if Bowers is out, Michael Mayer is like a must start this week. I am a booty warrior. Yeah, you are. Colby says, I lost Kittle in a league, so I'm snatching up Fannin or Johnson tomorrow. So Fannin for me, so we're going to go through this. Fannin's on 3%. He is a guy I'm using a waiver claim on unless I have one of the 3 top tight ends. And now Kittle is one of the 3. He's out. So if I have McBride, I'm not probably using my waiver claim on him. Maybe to trade him. But in terms of picking him up to play, this is a little spooky because that was such a weird game, dude. The Bengals ran like 40 plays and the Browns ran like 72 plays. So that's not going to be the case every week. He played a lot, but Njoku's still there. I think we're getting a little bit for long term. I love Harold Fannin, dude. But for this next couple weeks, would it surprise you if he came out and had 3 catches for 12 yards next week? What do we think about that in the chat? Are we saying he's a weekly starter now? Happy Tuesday. Hey guys, what up, Daniel? Who are maybe like 5 good players this Sunday to bet on for receiving rushing yards? They haven't released any of the totals yet. I'm going to do my gambling show. My gambling show is every Saturday night. My actual podcast for my 3 bets is Friday night. You can check that out. I'm a prop guy, so that's what I do. I'm going to look at Jamar Chase. Simple as that, Jamar Chase. I don't know what his number is going to be at. I'm assuming it's going to be like 85 yards, but that's not going to keep up for long. He's hungry. Joe Burrow's hungry. I'm looking at Jamar Chase, but again, I haven't seen any numbers yet. So, who would you trade Kenneth Walker for? Would you trade Kenneth Walker for Kittle? Yeah. If you're 1-0, if you're 0-1, I don't think I want to make a trade for a hurt guy, but also you're trading possibly an expiring asset in Kenneth Walker because this is also Kenneth Walker's an injury risk, but if a couple more weeks of this happens and we start seeing Charbonnet play 60% of the snaps every week, you might not have the starter there anymore. Like he might be an aspiring asset, if you know what I mean. So I would probably do that because Kittle, I don't think Kittle's going to be out more than 4 weeks. I think he's coming back week 6. So that's a good trade. Robert says, should I trade George Kittle for Travis Kelce? No. I'm not touching Kelce. I think you could find Travis Kelce's 80% of Travis Kelce's production for these next 4 weeks in any of these guys on the screen here. Bretton Strange, we didn't talk about him, 22%, baby. He played 80% of the snaps. He only played less at the end because they were blowing him out. Bretton Strange was like the first look on 3 or 4 passes, and Trevor Lawrence barely threw the ball. So I love Bretton Strange. I think he has a pretty good touchdown upside too. Chika Okonkwo, another dude, into. I've been into Chika Okonkwo. His numbers don't look good. He had a pretty bad drop on that last drive, But Chickakankwo ran around an 80% of the dropbacks for Cam Ward. So I really like that. Chickakankwo at 34%. You could do a lot worse. Dalton Schultz, we had Kay Stover, who was the second-year tight end, who was like their second tight end in Houston. He had surgery or something. He's out for the year, I think. So Dalton Schultz is a lone guy there. And we have Christian Kirk, who might not be back. Dalton Schultz got 6 or 7 targets week 1. I expect the same production there, and he's a safety blanket. Not a sexy name. No one wants to start Dalton Schultz, believe me. But you could do a lot worse for a couple weeks. Juwan Johnson, Brenton Strange, or Harold Fannin? I would say Harold Fannin in a vacuum because you have a possible long-term stud, right? I think that in the short term, I'm not going to be comfortable starting Harold Fannin. We don't know what his snap share is going to be. We don't know if that was I know it was his first NFL game, and it's super encouraging they played him so much. I just don't know. Corruptus says, I'm avoiding the Eagles wide receiver room. If I had A.J. Brown, I would sell him when he scores high, if that happens. Jared says, bro, Bo Nix sold my team so hard. Is Jake Ferguson a good hold? Yeah, Jake Ferguson is a good hold. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot more in these coming weeks. Their defense looked good against the Eagles, but I don't think they have a good defensive unit. Dak Prescott's going to be throwing the ball a lot. As much as I love Javonte Williams, they don't have a good running back room. They're O-line suspects. So I definitely think Ferguson is in the top 12. Hold Bo Nix. You have to hold Bo Nix, but Polo says, who would you drop? Ingram, Ferguson, or Warren for Fannin? You have all those tight ends in your team? Probably. You can't drop Warren. Is that Tyler Warren or Jalen Warren? Either way. Which Warren is that? Is that... I would, man, maybe Evan Ingram, bro. He's hurt right now, and that's tough, dude. We have... Colby says, I have a team where Kelsey's my worst player. Never thought I'd say that. Yeah, I mean, Kelsey's still going to probably run into 7 or 8 touchdowns this year, especially with the injuries. But, like, if you're thinking you're going to get some big yardage and catch totals from him, it just doesn't look like he's that player anymore, dude. Hold Warren. Yeah, if you're talking about Tyler Warren, you shouldn't even be thinking about picking up a tight end because Tyler Warren is like a top 6 guy for the rest of the year. I have thoughts on Kraft from CK. We'll go to Bleed Green first. I'm crazy deep at RB and have Chubb. Should I try to trade him or drop him for another position? I would try to find a team that has Kenneth Walker, find a team that has Pacheco, and see what you can get for Chubb. Maybe do a 2-for-1. Give him Chubb and a receiver and try to upgrade a little bit because Chubb got 15 touches. Chubb is a starter in Houston until further notice, and you have no need for him, right? But it's a deep league, so I think I don't drop him because he doesn't deserve to be in a wire even in a 12-team league. Thoughts on Kraft, CK? I'm the biggest Tucker Kraft guy in the universe. So disappointing first week, even though he caught a touchdown. He played 92% of the snaps. No other receiver, no other pass catcher on Green Bay played over 72. So, like, he's their every down player. He's going to have a lot more looks. That was just a wacky game script. And also, if you watch the game, before he caught the touchdown, they were on, like, I think they're on 35. And Jordan Love missed him on, like, a 40-yard seam route that was wide open, bro. So his day would look a lot better if he caught that or if it was a better throw and the game wasn't out of hand. Like I see Tucker Kraft as I said top 5 all year. Unfortunately, I think Tyler Warren might be that top 5 guy. So you got top 6, top 7, but 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns for Tucker Kraft this year. Warren is a hold, 100% a hold. Warren is a boom. Kai and Claudia, 10-man, non-PPR, lost Kittle. Should I pick up Kraft, Goddard, Ferguson, or Ertz? It's Kraft. Kraft, I'd rank it Kraft, Goddard, in that order, actually, because it's non-PPR. Kraft has probably the highest touchdown equity of any of these guys. Kraft or Hockenson, week 2 start. It's Kraft, man. Hockenson looked terrible. I could see where you'd go Hockenson because they had similar numbers, and the difference was Kraft caught a touchdown. But the eye test says that Hockenson looked bad. McCarthy didn't look that good. I don't think they're going to be as pass-heavy as we've seen the Vikings in the past. And you can say the same thing about the Packers. But Tucker Kraft is a big part of the run blocking scheme, and Musgrave can't run block. So Tucker Kraft played 92% of the snaps. That's what I'm looking at. Dynamic player, red zone role, amazing after the catch. We got, a lot of Kraft love. Hey, what up, Brian? Where are you from in Chicago, man? Like the city, or are you from the burbs? Because I'm pretty much a hick, bro. Not really, but I don't live in the city. Alex, thoughts on Mark Andrews? Don't panic on Mark Andrews, man. He actually looked good. At least the one catch he had, he looked fast. It was a 5-yard catch, but bear with me. Weird as hell. They scored 40 points. He got one catch. That's never going to happen again. He's fine. Tight end landscape's rough right now. You have Mark Andrews, who has probably as good of a chance. He probably has the best chance of any tight end to catch a touchdown weekly, right? 11 last year. The top guys, Trey McBride, Brock Bowers. I'd say Kittle is probably the only guy that has a higher touchdown upside game to game, and we just lost him for 4 weeks. So definitely keep Mark Andrews. I would actually try to trade for Mark Andrews if I could, but I have Tucker Kraft, so I don't want to downgrade. In most of my leagues, I have Kraft, or I have Trey McBride. Bears have 2 freaking studs. They need to implement more. Are you talking about the receivers? We're going to get the streaming defenses here in a minute. We're having a pretty good tight end talk, though. Oh, no problem, CK. Like I've been telling people, I know I'm doing this on my phone. It sucks. I'm getting my tech guy over here to work on my laptop, get it all integrated. I can't even talk. Whatever. We're going to get it set up. My boy Story, my partner who's on all the pods with me, a couple of my other buddies going to be hopping on the live feed, do some Zoom calls, have 2 of us answering your questions. It's going to be a lot better production. Same content, same dude, but better production value. But I appreciate you guys watching this janky-ass phone stream. But, you know, it's for the content, right? And it's about the group. And the group here has been pretty fucking good. Yeah, tech guy. That's it. That's him right there. That's him. Ben. There he is. Drop Pitts for Fanat. No. You cannot drop Kyle Pitts right now, man. We have a question with Drake London. We don't know the injury. We know it's an AC joint, and he could play through that. That's what CeeDee Lamb had last year, which kind of sucks because CeeDee Lamb played through it okay for a while, and then he just couldn't do it anymore. So you have Darnell Mooney, who's a question mark. So definitely hold Pitts, and he might be a start this week, which is crazy to say, but hey, see you later, CK. Colby says, I got some friends from Rockford. Rockford's a pretty rough town, bro. Actually, I think per capita has more crime than Chicago. Beep boop. I have Strange and Pitts. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, you wait on tight end. It's a wasteland anyway, dude. So yeah, Rockford is rough, man. I've bought weed there a couple times, and one time it was nuts. My wife was with me. I was like, you're coming in the house with me because I'm not leaving you in the car. You're definitely getting raped here. Or robbed, or both. Raped and robbed. The 2 R's. Prop squared. Hey-oh. You say that like you don't live in an Amish town. Fuck you, Ben. Elburn is growing. There's 6,000 people here now, baby. I'm right by the train. I can hop on the train and get to Chi-Town in like an hour and a half. Ryan says, I have Kraft and Hawkinson, and TJ looked like dog shit. He did. So start Kraft, baby. Start Kraft. The Gesicki, CK, the Gesicki's a drop. He played the third fewest snaps of any tight end on the Bengals. Sample played more than him, and then Noah Fant played more than him. Fant had the touchdown. So I feel like Gesicki is only relevant when and if T. Higgins gets hurt. So you don't want anything to do with Gesicki right now. I know it's nice to be tied to the Bengals offense. Get fucking Gesicki. I want all these guys besides Michael Mayer over Gesicki. I'm dropping Thornton for Fan. Is that Dante Thornton? Gesicki a stash? I mean, you could do much better with a stash. I would rather have Michael Mayer because if something happens to Brock Bowers, you're getting a tight end 1. If you're talking about stashing tight ends, because it's like it's hard to handcuff tight ends. I just don't see it. There's too many mouths to feed there. I know. I thought the same thing. 3 years, dude. It's also the Bengals. They pay the dumbest people they shouldn't be paying, and they don't pay like Trey Hendrickson. Like, dude, they're paying their backup tight end. They're paying everyone like multiple receivers like record-breaking money, and they don't pay their fucking stalwart defensive end. Yeah, thanks, man. I don't think it's worth a stash, right? I wouldn't personally do it, but because I have him in best ball in a few spots, and I'm pretty worried about that. Like, he's not going to give me much. He may catch like 3 or 4 touchdowns this year, but when are you ever going to know when he's catching a touchdown? Dante Thornton, I liked him as a high upside player, but yeah, Trey Tucker is going to stick a little bit there, but which I think that's what he had week 1. All right, we're going to move to defensive streams here. Also, again, real quick, 50 likes, 50 subs on this video. I'm giving away a free $10 bet. I'll Venmo you the money. I'll get in touch with you. We'll talk in the chat. Easy as hell. Easy as hell, baby. All right, we got... well, we don't know. So he says, Corrupted says that I don't want to drop Ingram. We don't know necessarily Ingram's injury. Like, we don't know how severe it is. I haven't heard. They haven't even given us an update on that one. So I don't know if you want to take that as good news or bad news, but thanks, Ryan. You won't regret it, my dude. If you guys like gambling, though, our gambling show, Friday is the actual show on the channel, and then Saturday night is the live stream. We build parlays, talk out a lot of bets, talk out each game. Send Devontae Smith and Pacheco for Adams. No. I would still have Devontae Smith ahead of Adams, so you're giving away a free Pacheco. Adams, it's not like he looked bad, but unless Puka gets hurt, Adams is a wide receiver two-ish, like wide receiver 20 every week. I feel like Devontae Smith's right in that range, man. Bad week, but I'm not worried. I would maybe recommend the Eagles defense this week. I'm from Kankakee. Hey, I've been to Kankakee many times, Ryan. Too much depth and need to do a 2-for-1. I think you could do better than that. I maybe Adams is an upgrade over Devonta Smith. They both in similar situations, right? They're both the 2 in their offense. Start Tet or Hunter. Probably Tet. You drafted him higher. Stick with the guy you drafted. This is a great week for streaming defenses, though. Like, these matchups, bro, are amazing. Like, I love all these defenses. I think the Chargers are really the play here because their next couple games, besides this one, like, you can actually hold them. They're not really, and they're also an elite defense. The reason that they're available in 50% of the leagues is people didn't want to start them week 1 against the Chiefs. Let's see. So, here's the Chargers schedule, man. We have Las Vegas, then Denver, which at home, Denver looked pretty bad, dude. At the Giants. And then they have Miami week 6, Indy week 7. So I like that schedule for the Chargers. Kai says, which do you think has more potential in non-PPR, Dylan Sampson or Hollywood? I would always go with the running back, but I don't know, man. Judkins might sign there. I would probably say Hollywood. I would, or Devontae, another stud player for a bigger player, says Chubby. That makes sense. For Real Kev says, can we see Chiefs losing week 2? I feel the Eagles will win. I don't know why. Doubting myself. Maybe because the Chiefs and Ravens fucked me last week. So I'm doubting my picks, but I'm always good during the NFL season. I mean, the Chiefs are kind of in a must-win. It's hard to say it's a must-win week 2, but like they're never losing 2 games in a row, and they're sure as fuck never starting a year 0-2. But the Eagles are just a powerhouse, man. I don't think they can stop them. The Eagles are a better team. They were a better team in the Super Bowl. It's a tough matchup who's Mahomes passing to, man? And their defense, let's be honest, they kind of got shredded. Like, Justin Herbert fucking shredded them. What about the Rams? In terms of like their outlook, their defense is elite and they have playmakers. Good night, Chubby. Yeah, if we get up to the total, you're eligible. So if not, there'll be many more hopefully to give away. Pacheco and K-Dot owner, and it feels bad. If those are your 2 running backs, which are 2 decent, like if you went early quarterback or you went wide receiver, or you went Trey McBride or Brock Bowers, that is a realistic combo of 2, like what we thought of decent, safe RBs in the 5th and 6th round, 4th and 5th round. You're in hell right now because you have 2. Pacheco might not even be the starter. Well, no, Pacheco's a starter, but he doesn't have any value in his touches he gets. And then K9 might not even be the starter. So that's hell, man. I didn't mind either of those guys. I don't have a lot of either because I was taking Swift, which isn't a great option. I was taking Pollard and Swift over them or in that range, right? So I went RB a lot this year, man. And I'm feeling pretty good about it because the receivers I got later, Ibuka in the 6th, Pearsall in the 7th, Chris Olave I still love in the 6th. Like my receivers are all fine. Travis Hunter is still fine. And then you have you know, Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor or Gibbs and Irving, Bijan. If you get Bijan and JT, like you're looking good, dude. Even Chase Brown in the front of the 2nd round was a good pick. Cardinals are such trash. They did win, but that doesn't count because they played New Orleans. Is asking for neighbors in return for Debo, Chubb, and Pacheco too much? The team has K9 and Hubbard. I mean, that's a pretty fair trade, bro. Debo, Chubb, and Pacheco. Let's just take Chubb out. I mean, you can give it to him, but like that's just kind of not a needle mover. But Debo and Pacheco for neighbors. I wouldn't do it personally if I had neighbors because that's not how I trade. But I could see someone accepting that. Dying with Denver D this year. They're going to be elite. The only problem is they might get screwed a few games by Bo Nix turning the ball over too many times. And you start having that happen, then you're going to put the defense in some pretty precarious situations. Yeah, Barkley's going to run all over them, man. And again, A.J. Brown, 1 catch. Is that going to happen again? Trade neighbors for Danny Dimes. Don't you mean Danny Dollar? We call him Danny Dollar on this channel, baby. Yeah, I have Lamb, Puka, Tet, Hunter with those RBs. So you're fine. You just need them to work out. Hopefully you drafted some higher upside bench guys that, you know, over time there'll be an injury that happens. And if you have a Brian Robinson Jr. or you have LG or one of those guys starts a few games, get you through a little bit of it. Rams or Chargers D week 2? I mean, it's got to be Rams, dude. They're against the Titans. Cam Ward is not. I'm not saying he's not ready for the NFL, but he is just not prepared enough. The coaching staff isn't prepared enough. Their offensive line sucks. Not enough playmakers. And what I love about it for the defense that you're starting against him, Cam Ward is a gunslinger, bro. He takes a lot of sacks. He throws picks. He's gonna maybe score some points. Like they're gonna do better than they did against Denver, but the Rams have an elite pass rush, and they just held C.J. Stroud to 9 points. So I don't see a world where the Titans are scoring more than 17 this week. And I can see them having a lot of pass attempts. So what do we want? We want, for a fantasy defense on a weekly basis, we want the team that you have the defense on, you want them to have the lead. You want a team that have to be throwing, right? Rushing attempts, you're not going to get sacks. You can maybe get a fumble, but passing attempts, sacks, fumbles, interceptions, touchdowns, shit like that. You get a lot more chances for punt return touchdowns. I like the Chargers as well. I just think the Raiders are just a much more professional team right now than the Titans. Colby says, how much FAAB for Hollywood out of 100? I mean, what's your situation? Is it like, are you in need of a starter these next couple of weeks? Are you 0-1? If you're 1-0, I wouldn't really panic as much. You can afford to lose a game. Thank you, 50. And make you the fucking moderator, baby. That's about right. Basically a 5-week rental, maybe less. We don't know about Worthy. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Could be the whole season, but either way, you got Rice coming back week 7. So it depends on your situation. I'm 1-0 and I have Rice. Who's your starting like third receiver or your flex spot? Like what is your like how bad is it? Because if you're not going to be starting him, then there's no point in using any FAAB or waiver claim on him. Levy says, should I start Montgomery or Ford? Montgomery. Ford, he gone, bro. He gone. He looked awful. He's gone. Get him out of here. Yeah, Colby, let me know your situation, and we'll figure out as a group here if it's worth even putting any FAAB on him. You could always throw like a nominal like $5 or $8 out of 100, but I wouldn't go crazy and spend $50. Yipsky says, dropping 40% FAAB on Fannin being 0-1 with Kittle. I mean, start Swift, baby. I mean, Swift or Montgomery are fine. My only issue with Fannin is we just don't know. I love him for his long-term outlook. I love the end of the season after week 8. I just don't know the next 3 weeks is when you need him, when you're going to be starting him. Like, I don't know how trustworthy he's going to be. How many is he going to play 70% of the snaps again? Are they going to run 72 plays on offense? Like, I guess we'll have to see, but Njoku's still the starter there. So, and they've been using him as that third slot role, essentially. Scary Terry, Tillman are my 2 starters. Yeah, I think you might want, who's your third? So is it just a 2-receiver league, Colby, or do you have a flex? So like, what's your like worst starting position? Like, do you have a flex then? So it's 2 receivers and 2 flex. Are you starting running backs at your flex? Because I'm fine with just rolling out Tillman and Scary Terry until you get Rice back. Terry's got a week 12 bye, and Tillman has a week 9 bye, right? Cleveland week 9, I think. Not that much FAAB on Fannin and like 15%. Well, here's the thing: is you can try to get Fannin, and then there are other options, man. Like you don't need a season-long guy. The thing about Fannin is he's better later in the season. That's what we project. You're fine with Juwan Johnson, Bretton Strange, Chickaconquo, Dalton Schultz. All those guys you can get for like a couple dollars on your FAAB, and they will almost give you the same production. You could save some of your money and like kind of just tread water until you get Kittle back. Dude, Fannin, I love Fannin. I'm a little concerned that like he's going to be started by everyone next week over like reputable players that we know their role and that he might disappoint. And I could be wrong, man. I'm just trying to be level-headed about this Fannin thing because I love Fannin coming out of college. I love this tape. I think Njoku's pretty cooked. He looks slow as hell. Leafy, should I start Swift over McLaurin in my flex? Probably not, man. McLaurin will have better days ahead of himself. Rams defense. Yeah, we love the Rams defense this week for sure. I just know everyone and their brother is just talking about Harold Fannin. And me and Story were talking about Fannin in June and July and like questioning like could he, because we just figured that Njoku's going to get traded at some point this season. He's a prime trade, week 8, week 9 trade target for a needy team, right? Because he is a professional still, but he's 30 years old. Olave from the Saints or Golden from the Packers. Chris Olave, as long as he there's no injury issue because he got nicked up a couple times on Sunday. As long as he's not injured, it's Chris Olave. He got 13 targets. You don't want to trust the only player I'm trusting, the players I'm trusting on the Packers, it's going to be Josh Jacobs and Tucker Kraft. That's it, man. Jaden Reed scored a touchdown. Jaden Reed played 36% of the snaps. They literally, it's like hockey lines, man. The Packers wide receiver room is like hockey lines. They're just fucking changing them all up. They have so many guys. And Christian Watson isn't even back yet. Okay, Colby has Josh Allen, Henry, Pollard, Scary Terry, Tillman, Kittle, Dobbins, Aubrey, Broncos D. I mean, I would put a little bit of a bid for Hollywood, but I wouldn't go 40%, man. I wouldn't. There's just too many question marks, and you have a good enough team. And you said you're 1-0? Yipsky says, you think one of Hill or Waddle gets traded? I don't think they're going to trade Waddle because he is an asset for them. He's a younger player on a decently friendly deal. They have to trade Hill. The problem is, like, Hill can only go to a certain number of teams, right? It's like how Jalen Carter fell to the Eagles because no one wanted to deal with the headache, and the Eagles knew their infrastructure and their locker room could handle it. Only a couple locker rooms can handle Tyreek Hill. Like, you can't be sending him to a wild team with no discipline. It's got to be a team that's ready to win now, like an Eagles, or I can see him going back to the Chiefs. I can see him working with the Bills, but I don't think the Bills want to fuck up anything they have there. Yeah, 20% sounds good, man. If someone wants to outbid you, that's fine. You could find somebody, that's going to be fine, dude. Alec Iomanner, is fine. Casey Washington, another deep name, dude, from the Falcons. If Drake London misses, he played 92% of the snaps with Drake London playing. He's playing the Darnell Mooney role. So I think that's another guy to pay attention to. Yeah, Iomanner, definitely a great pickup, dude, because he's playing every snap. I mean, and he has juice. And they're going to be throwing the ball a lot there. So Iomanner, I know it's tough to trust a rookie, but I like Iomanner's film coming out of Stanford. I like the player. I love the situation. I don't know what his touchdown equity is going to be, but he does comp as like a touchdown beast, as a guy that will win in the red zone and make contested catches. Yeah, Iomanner's available in every league. He's 5%. The only league I think the 5% is from me because I have Iomaner in like 9 spots. I drafted him in my 18th round pick, and I think that's the only spot he's rostered. Ooh, Quentin Johnston. Honestly, dude, I think I'd rather have Iomaner than Quentin Johnston, and that might sound crazy, but there's 3 receivers in LA, and you still have Trey Harris, the rookie, who might eventually work in a little bit. You got nothing in Tennessee, bro. Nothing. Can we have kicker talk? Oh, bro, I didn't have a page for that. I'm down for streaming kicker talk, man. Streaming kickers is one of my like guilty pleasures, dude. Like, you know, like most people like pop on fucking porn to jerk off. I'm just like, I pull up the kicker free agency page and I'm like, oh, yes. Oh my God, yes. Is that a good impression? So many awesome names. Chad Ryland, baby. That was my start. Ryland, and I started Ryland in long. Is it long? He kicks it long. Yeah, he looked, Iomaner looked way better than his production would say. It was his first NFL game too, right? So, let's see what we got here. Going to rostered. Cam Little, sorry, I called him long because he kicks it long. Cam Little was, I think I started in 12 leagues, dude. And he scored like 16 fucking points. That guy's got a bomb-ass leg. Weather reports, closed stadium. I always look at that. Dome is big for me. But my biggest thing is I kind of look at the line, and I want a team that's on a favorite. And like this could always sometimes work against you because sometimes you get a team that just can't score touchdowns, and they sometimes have like 4 field goals. But there's just less scoring opportunities with a team like the Giants. So got to Boswell, second kicker off the board, happy after week 1. Yeah, see, I just don't. When I draft a kicker, like anytime, like before the last 2 rounds, it stops me from playing the waiver wire and using and getting my weekly kicker. If I find a guy like Little, I'm just sticking with him those 12 weeks. And then when he starts missing kicks or whatever happens, the offense goes to shit. I want to replace him. But I love the weekly. I love just playing weekly kickers, man. It's fun too. It's like, especially when you draft a really good team. Besides like a couple injuries and like bye weeks, you set and forget your lineup, right? Ideally in fantasy, we want those teams where you set it and forget it, where it's like I'm never gonna play anyone over, you know, Emeka Ibuka or Tyler Warren, or I'm never gonna play anyone over Jahmyr Gibbs, or if I draft Justin Fields, like which I have, I'm probably just gonna start Justin Fields every goddamn week until I see it go wrong. But kickers and defenses give us an edge, right, to play some matchups. Let's see. Who do we got here I'm going to go under 50% rostered. Now, Yipsky, it's also not fun when you switch from a kicker that you had for a couple weeks that did good, and then because you had a bad matchup, and you pick up someone you think has a good matchup, and the guy who struggled for you the week before you fucking drops 15 points, and your kicker you pick up scores 6. I fucking hate that. But that's part of the game, right? So we got somehow Cam Little is owned in 37% of leagues. That's insane. Tyler Loop, 39%. He is at home against Cleveland. From extra points alone, he's going to get you 6 points. So he just needs 2 field goals and the extra points, and you're looking at 12. Shoot or shoot, baby. I've had Aubrey in my 3 main leagues the last 3 years. He's unreal. Going to break Tucker's record this year. I can feel it. Aubrey is fun. I mean, the nice thing is he's a great kicker. They are generally pretty conservative. At least they were under McCarthy for those years. We'll see if that changes this year. But he's amazing kicking inside, and he just doesn't miss. Like, he doesn't miss. He's as accurate from 60 as most guys are from 45. So Young Wei Koo got released. He gone. I think I like Daniel Carlson this week, man. He is 11% owned on the Raiders, and they're at home against the Chargers. That's a good defense you can move the ball against them, and Daniel Carlson's really good. Miami, yeah. Fairbairn's good. I do like having kickers on Monday Night Football, man. When it comes down, it's like I need my kicker to get 9 and I win. Just wavered Little for Santos in both my leagues. Yeah, Santos, as a Bears fan, sucks dick, dude. He sucks. He has no legs, so you can never get 50-yarders, and he's just not good. I know he's been good. Like, last year, he was pretty good. I fucking hate that guy, dude. He's one of the worst kickers in the league. Miami's great. The weird thing about Fairbairn is, like, he makes every 50-yarder, but that dude, I see him miss, like, 35-yarders, like, a lot more than he should. So he's almost better from distance. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. No, Matt Gay, I think definitely this week I'm out on Matt Gay, and here's my reasoning. What did he do? What did he do last week? 3 points. I started Matt Gay in a few weeks, and after I did it, I remember just how aggressive Washington was, like the second or third most aggressive team on fourth down last year. Remember how many times they'd go for like 4th and 3 on their own on the 30-yard line? So that's one thing I hate about, like, you don't like starting a kicker on Detroit. You don't like starting a kicker on the Eagles because they go for so many fourth downs that, like, that's why the fuck's his name? I'm an idiot. That's why Dicker is the best, because both Harbaughs are so conservative on fourth down that they kick it. If they have a 4th and 1 on like the 32, they fucking kick it in most situations. So you're getting way more opportunities on these teams that are conservative, whereas the Commanders, dude, they're not. They're going to go for every fourth down. So I would not stick with Matt Gay. It's Smalley. Would you rather trade away Judy or Njoku, flex and tight end starter? I would probably rather trade away Njoku. He didn't look good, and you got the rookie breathing down his neck. I mean, I would rather trade away Njoku. I remember getting Robbie Gould. Was like feeling you're getting round 1. Yeah, Robbie Gould was great. I met Robbie Gould, scratch golfer too. Came to my work. Pretty nice dude. Yeah, he's pretty gay. Should I trade George Kittle and DJ Moore for Tyler Warren and George Pickens? Standard league. This is no PPR. Chivalry, that is, are you 0-1? Because I know it's just like one win is not that big of a deal, but if you're 1-0, I'm more likely to stick with Kittle. If you're 0-1, if you're 0-3, then good luck for the season. You're probably fucked. So if you're 1-0, though, you have a little bit more buffer. Tyler Warren's a stud. The only problem is Tyler Warren's touchdown upside. He's more of a PPR guy. I don't see him. I know he can get some rushing touchdowns. But in PPR, this is 100% smash, yes. Standard, it's a little tough. But I love George Pickens. So, like, I think George Pickens and DJ Moore are probably even. In a standard league, I probably like Pickens more. So, and you got the George Kittle being out 4 weeks. So that's the deciding factor, right? Would you drop Little for Prater? Absolutely not. Prater's not even going to be the kicker after 4 weeks. Little is a rest of the season kicker, it looks like. CK, what to do with the Bills defense? I can drop and pick up Cowboys. I don't think the Bills defense is really that good in general, like in real life. And they don't have any. Who do they play this week? Bills have, is it the Colts? Why am I whiffing on this? Oh, they have the Jets. I mean, that doesn't look like that great of a matchup because they run the ball so much, and Justin Fields is taking care of the ball. So I would probably pick up the Cowboys. I mean, there's so many good pickups, bro. Look at all these pickups. The 49ers have such an easy schedule. The Patriots have a great matchup. Cowboys have a good matchup. Bucks have a good matchup. Cardinals have a great matchup. Chargers have a good matchup and a great defense. I think Chargers, because you're getting a better, I'd say the Chargers are a better real-life defense, better fantasy defense, and they have a better matchup. And week 3, Denver looks like a tough matchup, but Bo Nix is a fucking turnover machine, dude. Hold on to Blue or drop him to pick up QJ. You should not hold on to Jaden Blue. Get him out. They just reported, so he was a healthy scratch week 1, and the Roto World just put out a blurb this afternoon saying that he still has more work to do before he can get on the field. So he needs to improve a lot of things, particularly his pass blocking. So unless there's an injury, and they're saying this, meanwhile, Miles Sanders legitimately lost in the game in week 1 on Thursday Night Football, and they're still not going to have him active for week 2. That says all I need to know about Jaden Blue. Later in the season, you can stash him. But if you have a better guy to pick up, just get rid of Jaden Blue. He might still be there in 2 weeks anyway. Surtain on Pittman could open up Warren for a ton of looks this week. 100%, man. Dude, Warren's going to get a ton of looks every week. I want to thank my podcast partner, Mike Story, for talking up Tyler Warren all offseason. Unfortunately, his price got really, really pricey because early in best ball, dude, he was going like 12th round. And then by the time redraft came around, and like specifically the last week of redraft, he was a 7th round pick, which I think he was worth that price. Javante's stock through the roof, baby. Colby says, do you think McCarthy can actually be good? I have JJ in a dynasty league, and those first 3 quarters were brutal. The first half was extremely brutal, man. He looked scared as fuck. He got so many. How many passes did he get tipped? He panicked in the pocket. He had a couple ducks where he was the ball just didn't come out of his hand right. That was nerves, bro. Like, 'cause thinking about it, that was literally his first game, his first like competitive that wasn't an exhibition game, and they said almost 2 years. So, and that's his first NFL game, but he hadn't even played college in 2 years. So that's a big deal. That's his hometown too. He's from LaGrange or some shit, like pretty close to Chicago. What's a good trade pickup for Njoku? I mean, if you're trying to trade Njoku, I don't think you're going to get much for him. I would trade for him, but I wouldn't be giving you full price. I'll give you 50 cents on the dollar. Like, I'd probably rather have Ferguson and Pitts right now than Njoku. Yeah, I really hold two tight ends as well. Fannin would be the case where you would hold 2 tight ends because he has a lot of upside. But, like, typically you don't have tight ends with upside on the bench. Steve says, I just traded Alvin Kamara plus Jaden Reed for Terry McLaurin and Roma Dunze. I also have Jaden Daniels, so I have the stack now. Yeah, depending on the rest of your roster, Jaden Reed is going to be hard to trust all year, and you traded him high. He played 36% of the snaps and had a touchdown. That's going to be a mess of a room all year. And you got McLaurin and Rome, dude. So I'd say McLaurin and Kamara are pretty similar. I'd probably rather have Kamara, but I'd 100% rather have Rome than Jaden Reed. Yipsky, what's Loveland's outlook? Not good, bro. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know Cole Kmet played like over 80% of the snaps, and Loveland played 52%. And I don't know. They're just, dude, the offense needs to be great for them to support all these, DJ, Rome, Swift. You have Luther Burden essentially, or eventually coming into that third wide receiver room. They have Zacchaeus now, and you still have Cole Kmet. So that's like so many mouths. And if he's not going to have a lot of touchdown equity, if we're not going to be a top 10 offense, what are you going to get from Colson Loveland? Like, not good. How about Derrick Henry and Nico? So I'm feeling good about it. Oh, I have Derrick Henry and Nico. Yeah, well, Nico's first week was rough, but I would not be panicking on Nico at all. Well, Ramsey, Waller, he says, how do I feel about Waller? Waller hasn't played football in 2 years. He came to camp late, but then he missed week 1 and he was hurt and he barely even practiced. So I don't feel good about any Dolphins player. Waller should not be rostered. I wouldn't worry about Terry, man. Terry is, believe it or not, a pretty inconsistent game-to-game player, but his end-of-the-year numbers are always there. So it's going to be kind of a wild ride. You're not going to get 13 touchdowns like you got last year, but he's still the number 1 target there, tied to Jaden Daniels. I think Terry's I'm not going to say elite player, but he's a great player. He's a great player. He's a top 18 receiver in the NFL. Guy's a stud, never misses games. Like Terry McLaurin, don't worry about him. If anything, if you don't have Terry McLaurin, try to trade for him right now. Because if people trying to say they'd rather have Debo than him, that's insane. No, I want Terry. Scary Terry's like Amari Cooper. Yeah, I can see that. But Amari Cooper was great for 4 years. I'm not worried about Terry McLaurin. I don't think you guys should be either. Now, if he has a couple more bad weeks, then maybe worry a little bit. The numbers are always there. Pickens versus Ridley season-long full PPR. That's really tough. I love both of them. Full PPR, I would maybe lean Ridley just because the passing volume for him, like the targets and catches are going to be there. But I'm still pretty bullish on Pickens, dude. I know week 1 wasn't great for him. I mean, it wasn't great for either of them. But Pickens was especially disappointing. But eventually teams are going to start saying, because if you notice, they were actually giving Pickens more coverage, over the top coverage than they were. Ridley is a safer, like, Pickens is going to be more volatile week to week, where he's going to have games where he has 6 points, right? He's going to have games where he has 25 or 30, where I feel like Ridley's going to be pretty safe in the 12 to 15 to 16 range, just based on his volume, and he's like the only show in town, besides Alec Manor. How do you feel about Kittle and possibly Purdy out for the Saints? You know what? Actually, for this streaming defense thing, the Saints defense looked pretty feisty. If Purdy is out, I think we might have to consider putting the Saints defense on here. As gross as that seems, they held the, I think Cardinals scored 20 points only. Cardinals have a decent offense. I feel like the Cardinals have a better offense than what the Niners would have without Purdy and Kittle. What else you guys got for me? I got about 1.5 beers to finish here, and then I'm gonna take my dog for a walk. Those of you just joining here, we have 16 likes. So we get up to 50 likes, 50 subs for this video. I'm giving away a free bet. So if you guys like money, I'm gonna give a new subscriber, someone that liked the video, did both like and subscribe. I'm gonna give you guys a free bet, free $10. You got to make the right pick. Can you pick against a spread? Which is tough. You can choose a prop bet too. I don't care. Drop Eckler for Judkins. Depends on your situation, man. Judkins probably has more upside, like season long upside. But Eckler is going to be the 50%. He's going to play 50% of the snaps, passing down work for a top 10 offense. And Eckler actually looked pretty good. I don't know if you saw that play where he like pinballed off 3 guys. Dak, T-Law, or find someone else. I think you're fine, bro. I mean, because who else are you finding? Like, if Justin Fields is available, yes, but I like that combo, dude. Dak's going to be just fine. He's going to throw so many fucking passes this year. That defense is still trash. I know everyone's saying it looked good against the Eagles. That was the Thursday night game. The Cowboys defense sucks. Dak's going to be chucking the ball this year. Steve said I subbed, but if I win, give it to someone else. What a guy, Steve. What a guy. I appreciate you, bro. There's going to be a lot of giveaways on this channel. Once I actually start rolling and we start actually making some money, I like to give back to the community and the people. And from what I've seen, we have a pretty cool community. Before, it was just like my 8 friends and, you know, a couple other randoms that would comment on the videos here or there. But since I've gone live, there's been a lot of really cool people. So we don't want any dicks in the chat, man. No, I like some pussies. You get some pussy in the chat. Although, shit, I'm married. I have a ring. I can't say that. She's sleeping. Fuck, can't say that. I have Javonte and Lamb plus Dak. Feels weird starting their whole offense. Yeah, it's not exactly like starting the Eagles offense or the Bengals offense. But I think the offense is going to be good, man. I know they looked a little weird. The second half was awful. That was such a goofy situation. The rain delay, the fumble from Miles Sanders. So I still feel like a top 10 offense, and they're very concentrated, right? Besides, you have those 3 guys, and you have George Pickens. That's it. Little bit of the tight end sprinkled in there with Ferguson. Dak might get 100 passing attempts in the game this year. I mean, I was a little disappointed with his passing output the first week, and he didn't score a touchdown. But, dude, we're 2 years removed from Dak being the number 3 fantasy quarterback. He's got weapons. They're going to get Pickens involved. This is going to be a good passing attack. It is a great sign, Steve, that they held their own. I'll give you that. QB talk. We talking about QB just in general or QB waivers? Because I have Justin Fields everywhere, so I'm not looking for waivers too much. And I just don't even, I would never use a waiver claim on a quarterback. I guess Justin Fields would be worthy of one. Oh, thank you, Gipsy. Hope you have a good night, brother. Samson. I want to talk to Samson. Who knows that movie? Who knows that movie? I'll give you bonus points if you know that movie. You should know that movie. Sir Smoke a Lot. I'll give you a hint. It was played by Dave Chappelle. Yipski. Yep. There you go. He gets extra credit. Yeah, Harold Fannon's all the news, man. Harold Fannon is the news. He is the dude. I'm anxious to see what his usage is, though, because we don't know if that was just a 1-week thing, and that was a really good idea for them, because you could bet your ass that the Bengals weren't game planning for Harold Fannon, and they start seeing him in these exotic packages and running from every spot. If that keeps up, he's going to be a league winner. Yeah, and he crushed it there, man. He was the almost won the triple crown in the FBS. He didn't have he didn't have touchdowns. He only had like 10 touchdowns, but he had the most receptions and yards for any pass catcher, not just tight ends. So yeah, that was the worry coming out, was that he's undersized and he played in the MAC. But I mean, he's the real deal, bro. Like production typically transfers over to the next level. What else you guys have for me? Njoku looked cooked though, man. He looked pretty slow. That's what I've been saying this whole time, Steve. And the thing is, if you watch a lot of other shows, it's really easy just to, because people want to hear Harold Fannin. They want to hear you should pick him up and he's going to be a stud. I'm not going to advise anyone to do that, because there's a good chance you're getting 3 for 12 next week. He's playing 45% of the snaps. A good chance. So I'm not advising. I'm advising people. What I do is I advise what I do. And I'm not always right, but I've been doing this for a long time. But like playing 25, 20 plus fantasy leagues a year. That's redraft, not best ball. And I've only lost money 1 year. So I just advise what I would do. And it's not always the right call, but sometimes you got to be a little more conservative on your calls here, because just saying a rookie tight end that's second string in the depth chart is like going to be a must start, I feel like is a little outlandish. Even though I love Harold Fannin. And I love Chickaconquo. Like, I would rather start Chickaconquo, dude. He looked fine. He played 80% of the snaps. It was just a rough game against Denver. What up, Andre? Are you saying if you have... Oh, it killed you. I thought it said it scared you. It killed... I mean, hey, you still got 12 points from Kittle, which was more than... I mean, Mark Andrews scored 1 point, and he played all game, and they scored 40 points as a team. George Kittle played 1 drive and had 12 points. Would have been a great year for Kittle. I mean, he still could be, but it was going to be a monster year for Kittle. Tim says, Bretton Strange or Dalton Kincaid for week 2. Now that, sir, is a tough one. You know what we need to do? We need to look at Fantasy Pros. There we go. I'm going to go to week 2, though. We'll see what Fantasy Pro says. So we got Strange at 13 and Kincaid at 15. So I think Strange is the floor play, the safe play. I would say Kincaid is the upside play because he's more likely to catch a touchdown, and he's tied to a better offense. So it depends on your matchup, right? If you're looking for someone to boom and maybe get you 15, 16 points, I think it would be Kincaid, but he's likely to get 4 or 5. Where Strange, I feel like, is safe for 8 to 10 points in PPR. Good call, Kobe. I didn't think about that. He says Andrews has PTSD playing the Bills. Not his favorite team to play. Oh, sorry, Andre. I need a receiver to trade for my package. It's either James Cook, Sampson, or Debo. Who should I target? James Cook, Sampson, or Debo. So, let's see. I need a receiver to trade for my package. If you're who you should trade, I would trade Sampson over any of those names. I rank it Cook, Debo, Sampson in terms of I'd want the most. CMC is league winning. Well, CMC is going to have. What do you think CMC's over under for touches next week is? Because he had 31 touches, or 30 or 31 week 1. What do you think that we'd set it at if we were Vegas? Like, it's hard to set it at 30 touches. That's just fucking crazy. But we set it at like 27 and a half for next week touches. And what do you take, it over or under? Yeah, Kincaid. I got a shout out. Dalton Kincaid was a big money winner for me. Thank you, Dalton Kincaid. Steve's setting at 24 touches. I'd go over for that for sure. I don't know, man. He could have 1 million touches, bro. We're gonna find that. Where's the bet at? Where's it at? There's the Cam Newton thing. Here it is. I gotta thank my guy Dalton Kincaid for this one. I don't know if you guys saw when I came on Sunday. My second biggest hit in terms of like small wager amounts to win on a bet, that's all Dalton Kincaid. So I bowed down to Dalton Kincaid for that 20-1 part of the leg. Yeah, dude. Thanks, Ryan. You know what's funny is on Saturday, on Sunday night after I hit this, we did I had like 30 people in here afterwards, and we made a bet for Monday Night Football. We want to do a long shot like this. Bro, we did the same thing. I picked Caleb Williams. We picked Caleb Williams as first touchdown scorer, 20-1, same situation, same as Dalton Kincaid, and we missed 2 out of the other 3 legs that were all standard odds. Fucking Hawkinson fucked us. He was only 40 yards. He didn't get 40 yards. But we fucking hit the 20-1 and then can't hit the other 3. But I do like the fact that I guessed the first 2 touchdown scorers that were 20-1 on Sunday night and Monday Night Football. So that means I'll probably miss the next 20. I will give you a really good long shot I love. It's Ben Sinnott, dude, for Thursday night. I bet it. He's the backup tight end for Washington. He only played 11 snaps in week 1, and John Bates or some shit was playing ahead of him. But like Sinnott will see the field a little bit. He is 150-1 for first touchdown. That's fine because that's more than enough, right? I hit like 3 other parlays or 2 other. I hit 3 total parlays in this game for like 2,500. Like that's fine. That's enough for the whole year. Yeah, Caleb did look great on scripted plays. Yeah, dude, Ben Sinnott. It's 20. I think it's 150-1. I think I threw. I can look it up. I threw like $5 on it, and it's like $5 to win like $750. Which I mean, hey, you know what? Like, just for the off chance that Zach Ertz gets hurt and then he's forced to start, like to play the rest of the drive, that's worth the odds alone. But I think there's a chance it's, second and goal, third and goal from the 3, and they bring in a heavy package. Sinnett's in that package, pass catching tight end. I love the guy. I think he's a good player. I think that's crazy bet. So, I mean, you can't get odd. Maybe it's 100-1. It might just be 100-1, but it's like the high, the lowest odds you can get. Like there's no one below him, and I know he's a good player. And like backup tight end score, bro. Didn't we see who was the clown on the Jags? Hunter Long or whatever, the guy that was on the Rams before. He was the first touchdown scorer, or at least he scored a touchdown for the Jags. Hunter Long. He's like their second or third string tight end. Shit happens, man. Shit happens. Ryan D. Ben, it's 100-1. Yeah, Ben Sinnott 100-1. I feel like throw $5 on that, bro. And I wouldn't necessarily put it in a parlay, but $5 to win 500. Yeah, I think Hunter Long was probably like, I think he was 60-1 for just anytime touchdown score, or maybe it was less than that. No, sorry. Anytime would have been like 16-1, but his first touchdown bet probably would have been the same as I'm talking about with Ben Sinnott. But this is the thing I couldn't believe. Dalton Kincaid was 20-1. I know the report came out that he was not going to be like the starter, but they're sharing snaps, him and Knox. Like Dalton Kincaid, 20-1. Kamara, dude, here's the worry about Kamara, though, guys, is that as long as Spencer Rattler's starting, Spencer Rattler does not check the ball down. So, like, our value that we want from Kamara in PPR leagues is catches. And he had 2 catches, man. So he'll have more than that, but it's not going to be like what it was last year with Derek Carr. So I'm really hoping Tyler Shuck takes that job if I'm a Kamara owner sooner than later. We didn't talk about New England. I like New England's defense for streams this week for defensive stream. I do like them. Tyreek is probably done, but you know what? I think this actually might be a good week to bet Tyreek Hill's alt, because I bet his receiving line is going to be set at like 54.5 or something, which I don't really want to touch. But you bet like Tyreek at plus 120 plus yards, be like 3 or 4-1. I think that might be a solid bet, because if he goes off, he's really going to go off. It's going to have to be a deep bomb. He is cooked, but I like the odd. Like, you're never going to get lower yardage odds on Tyreek, right? Oh, I don't know, man. I trashed Bo Nix all pre-draft season. I don't think he's a very good NFL quarterback. I think he's bad for fantasy. He was bad for where you drafted him, but he's still going to be a top 12 borderline starter. So I don't know. The problem with doing that is you're wasting your FAAB. not wasting it because I love Justin Fields, but you're going to have a tough decision every week on who to start. So I would just grab someone else, right? Ryan, I showed you a winner. I lose a lot too, right? So I am actually, from that bet, I am up now. And I think I've bet 150K on DraftKings since it was legal here, and probably another 40K on FanDuel. So the impressive thing is just being even with betting $200,000. The juice alone is $20,000 from that. So like that means I would be up 20 grand if it wasn't for fucking juice. That's what gets you, man. You just gotta be disciplined, and that's what I've been trying to do. But you need to Ryan, check out the show. You can go back. This isn't a live show I do. It's an actual show I do for the pod. Friday nights called Beating the Odds. I'm 63%. I was 2-1 this week. I fucking bet on the Bengals. I don't usually do lines. I'm a prop guy. 2-1 start. I'm 63% the last 3 years. 3 bets a week at least. Those are my, like, when I really discipline on them, I always, like, those are 63% is winning some money. So check that shit out. Probably down $1,000 or $2,000, but pretty much only do best ball and redraft. When I say I'm even, that's gambling. In fantasy football, I'm probably up 25 grand or so in the last 15 years, maybe a little bit more. The last 8 years is when I started putting in 6 or 7 grand a year. But for a while, I was just throwing like 2 or 3 grand in. Usually, I don't always double my money, but usually I get like 150%. Ryan, that's a good call. If you break even as a gambler, you're doing better. I mean, there's a reason that casinos in Vegas is what it is. I have friends that are really successful gamblers, man, and they're very disciplined. They do all the promos too. That's the thing, is they just make their money on the promos, and they just kind of, when they win, and they don't chase. You can't chase when you gamble, bro. And like, I'm guilty of this with prop bets. If I lose a prop bet on a guy and I bet him again and I lose, I'm so like likely it's a gambler's fallacy thing where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm betting him again. He's got to hit it. Like, that's not exactly the best. That's very stubborn, but I'm going to keep on being stubborn. So, well, Casey, Steve, the best ball thing is, if you're doing big tournaments on best ball, it's like playing the lottery, right? Like, the odds of like winning your money back if you do $400 in all these like big tournaments, you're not going to. It's what we're looking for is that big win. Where in redraft, you're never gonna, if you put in $4 grand in redraft, you're never gonna win 100 grand. That's impossible. There's not enough money in the pot. But those big tournaments in best ball, you can win 100 grand. But in long-term outlook, it's not good. You'd rather play just the one league, the small leagues, and then you'll probably end up doubling your money or getting 150% back. But that's not as fun, right? It's like if I'm playing roulette, it's fun to bet on one number, because you hit that fucking one number, it pays 40-1 or whatever, instead of just doing red and black, which you should do, but that only doubles your money. Like, fuck that. I'm going to bet on fucking, 16 or some shit. DJ when it comes to the bourbon market. That could be super fucking pricey, dude. I just went to Louisville was it June? With a bunch of, I'm not a big bourbon guy. I drink it. I just don't see I don't think it's worth the price, I guess. I'm a beer drinker, and I just don't see like the high end shit is that much better. But that trip changed my mind, bro, because the shit we were drinking, man, it's weird. It doesn't even get you, like, it wasn't even getting me that drunk. I'd have like fucking 15 old fashions, dude. You drink until 4 a.m, and we had a tea time at 8 a.m, and I woke up, I was like, I feel fine. I mean, maybe that was the Adderall and like drinking right away at 8, but I felt fucking good, man. Cry Dog. Hey, Cry Dog. Is Daniel Jones worth a roster spot? Probably not, bro. This is the 1 week thing, right? We all it's 1 week and we just overhype everything. He'll be okay, but those rushing touchdowns, and like, he's a rusher, I get it, but they're going to be so conservative on offense and run the ball so much that there's a lot of guys I'd want over him. I still want Trevor Lawrence over Danny Dollar. We're calling him Danny Dollar now. If I was gambling to make money, I'd be broke. Cap for life. Butte or Fannin? I mean, it depends. If you need a tight end, Fannin, but I'd probably say Fannin in general. Ryan D, I'm a golfer. What's my handicap? Hey Ben, you want to answer that? Hey Ben, what's the best round you ever seen me play? Ben has seen 2 of my top 4 best rounds, and I've only played probably 3% of my rounds in my life with this guy. What is it, Ben? At a country club, mind you, Elgin Country Club. Tell him, Ben. Tell him what the round was. Thoughts on Calvin Austin? I think he meant Calvin Austin. I like Calvin Austin. It's gonna be a risky start. Like I don't think that Aaron Rodgers will be having a lot of 4 touchdown pass games. He's a streamer, man. He's in the wide receiver 4 conversation. Random fun fact: I'm from the same town as Cortland Sutton. Heyo, where's that exactly, Colby? Juwan, Goddard, or Fannin? Goddard. I still have Goddard the highest. Goddard for sure, man. Goddard has the highest touchdown equity of the bunch, tied to that offense. I would probably rank it Goddard, Fannin, Juwan. Although, if I had to choose to start Juwan or Fannin this week, I'd probably go with Juwan. You watch the NBA playoffs? Yeah, of course. I mean, I would go Goddard over Juwan because Juwan is going to be more of a flash in the pan. I know the snaps are there, but Dallas Goedert's a pro. Like, Dallas Goedert is like a borderline top 12 guy every year. I think I would just stick with that. Brenham, Texas. Pacers and Knicks comeback or Bills versus Ravens comeback? Which was better? Damn, bro. No, sir. I think I'm going to probably have to go Pacers Knicks. All the Pacers comebacks, right? But, like, probably that NBA comeback is, like, that math just didn't work for me. Like, how does that happen? Because, like, you can get turnovers a lot quicker in basketball, but usually they just don't come. NBA players don't turn the ball over like that. So I'm going to say that. But in terms of entertainment value, like I just am a bigger football fan, even though I love the NBA, that watching Lamar lose like that again is just fucking epic. And the fact that it was week 1 made it like, I know this was a playoff game, but like week 1 in the NFL, we're all psyched. And some of those, the late games for sure on Sunday, those 4 late games were all duds, right? All of them went under. They were all like 30 total points in the game. And we get this fucking banger, right? It was like we were smoking like ditch weed all weekend. And like, then someone comes with like cocaine. And we're just like, wow, this is much better. Not to advocate cocaine use, guys. That was just a reference. Crydog plus money on FanDuel. You're talking like lifetime, right? That's what's up. Goddard has 2 top 10 finishes the last 7 years, though. He just isn't exciting to me, to be honest. I know he's not exciting, but like sometimes you just got to take the safe option. Like, because Juwan Jennings isn't exciting either. It looks exciting, but you're also tied to a shitty-ass offense with Chris Olave and Shaheed there and Alvin Kamara. He's still 4th in the pecking order. Ben didn't answer my question. My lowest round is 66, by the way. Like, at a really hard course. He's been there for my 66 and my 68. But I'll say it, Ben doesn't want to get me started on golf. I might go 1 or 2 handicap. This year, I have a hand injury, so I haven't played much. I have a couple 72s this year, but I have a couple 82s and 84s. The handicap system in golf's bogus, though. I'm not like a scratch golfer averages 76 or 77, so it's a stupid system. I got Njoku already. Kind of want to go for Fannin. It's tough. I mean, if you were to ask me, I think Njoku's probably going to get traded at some point, week 8, week 9, or shut down, whatever. The Browns have nothing to play for. The next 4 weeks, like, what do you guys think of the chat? The next 4 weeks, who has more fantasy points, full PPR, Njoku or Fannin? Like, I'm going to have to say Njoku, right? You have to. I've worked a live tournament. It was lit. Probably a lot of hotties there, too. I'm grabbing a beer real quick. I put that in the chat so if someone else joins, they don't leave because they just see an empty seat. I'm grabbing a beer, and we're talking for a little bit more. There we go. You know, I don't get any more sleep because of these fucking streams because I end up trying to do like an hour. And next thing you know, I get off, and I'm like, I was on there for 2.5 fucking hours just talking football. Casey says it depends what Fannin does the next week or two. Right. I'm gonna trust, like, I'm starting Njoku over Fannin until further notice. I just know what happened. Last year, everyone spent their waiver claim and FAAB on Isaiah Likely, and everyone was like, he's the number one, not Mark Andrews. I know it's a different situation because this is a losing organization, and they have no reason to play Njoku down the stretch. I'm just telling you, most recent example of this was Isaiah Likely, the young shiny toy, who's a good player, and Mark Andrews, who's the aging veteran, and Mark Andrews destroyed him the rest of the year. So, oh, this is Keystone Light, man. $8 for a 15-pack. If it's light beer, I don't give a shit what it is, right? Busch Light, like Coors Light. I feel like this is not any different than Coors Light, and it's like almost half the price. I'm an IPA guy, but I'm in the summers I can't drink thick beer. And also I drink really fast, so like I'll drink 12 IPAs in 2 hours and I'll just be hammered. I can drink 12 Keystone Lights and just maintain. Fun fact. Cry Dog here in the chat doesn't drink anymore, but the most epic Busch Light drinker ever. He would bring a 30-pack, drink it fucking warm. It'd be cold when he brought it, be jamming. I play drums, he plays bass. 8 hours later, they're all warm. I think I've seen you pound a whole 30 rack, right, Cry? At least like 26 of them, dude. I'm still hot. Warren got sniped 1 pick before me in the draft. What round was that upside? Like 7th round? Hopefully you got Tucker Kraft as a consolation, and you didn't go David Njoku. Astro, you're speaking my language, bro. Kraft is so underrated because he's basically younger Kelsey. He's basically wide receiver 1. I mean, I wouldn't say he's Travis Kelsey level talent, but in terms of athletically, he is, and I just love it, the fact that all those receivers are eating into each other's snaps, playing 50, 60, 70%, and Kraft's out there 92% of the time. Gets the red zone looks. He's amazing yards after the catch. I waited till 8 and got Njoku. Damn it. Yeah, Kraft is the play there, but I got Warren the 10th in my 12-man. That's what's up. 10.9 for me. Yes, sir. This has to be my last beer, though. I've been on here the last 2 weeks because I did all my drafts. I streamed all my drafts. I don't know if you guys watched my Fantrax drafts. I've been on here like 2:30 in the morning every night. Kraft is already gone. Packer fan reached. Well, it was a smart pick, but I hate when fucking teams, like people reach for their guys because they're on their team. And maybe it's because I'm a Bears fan and I do the opposite. I fade guys on my own team because I just know they're going to be shit. Ryan, I am a maniac, bro. That's fine. I don't sleep much. What? Sleep's overrated, bro. I know the saying is sleep when you're dead. Hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. I'm still kind of a young dude. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I always 2 a.m. I'm only in 6 home leagues this year. The rest are Fantrax Public. I'm the dude that at 2 a.m. once it clears, I pick up my defensive kicker. Ben, what the fuck? This is what Ben chimes in with. You're not young. Fuck you, you child. You didn't mention anything about my golf. Ooh, Ben, I didn't see that one. You need a live stream of you pounding 12 IPAs, please. Well, I will say this. A great memory from the channel originally was called, it's always Professional Fanatics, but the podcast was Rob Squared because I'm Rob and my buddy was Rob. We did a random Rob's Ranks. I think it was like our favorite kid shows, like our favorite like cartoons or like kid shows we watch as kids, which is a weird topic. And I had, it was 16 IPAs, but all different, 16 different IPAs I had compiled and saved from each like 12-pack. And I drank them all. We did like a 3-hour show. Drank all of them, bro. It's a sloppy fucking pop, but it's great. That's the one also I was drinking that, I think I showed you, Ben, well, Ben's seen every podcast. That's the one where I drinking the purple drink, and there's a reference being made. It's just not great, but I'm not deleting anything. I keep all the old shit in the archive, dude. But I am pretty young, by the way. I'm not 40 yet. Dude, 40 is like the new 30. Like, look at dudes in Hollywood. I know I'm not that, but like 60-year-olds look fucking great. 60-year-old women look like fucking mutants now because they're getting work done at like 25. How do you guys feel about that? Women getting work done when they're like in their 20s. Like sexy women getting fucking shit done with their face. What the fuck is wrong with you? Why? Ben says I should have a star in Hollywood? You really think so? Colby, yeah, it can be. I mean, trust me, I have some friends that same situation. I'm a binge drinker, and we've all made our mistakes. I have some regrets from drinking. Um, I've tapered back on it a bit. I just generally drink at home, and then when I go out, whatever, and I'm on the golf course, and when I'm driving, oh shit, I drink everywhere. I'm kidding about the last parts. It's just about discipline, right? Got to have the discipline. What's wax on, wax off? Farrah Abraham, who the fuck's that? Yeah, I'm outraged they didn't mention Kraft in the tight end day. Yeah, I don't like any of that shit. Botox, like it doesn't look good. Maybe for a little bit, but like the problem is these celebrities, we already have like so many pictures of them when they're normal. And then it's just so glaring. Where like if you just never met the person, it might look okay, but it's so fucking glaring. It's like as glaring as a tit job, which I'm not really into fake tits, but I'm not gonna say I hate it. It's like if you see someone that has like a B cup, and the next time you see them at work or something, and they have like D's, and like they're gonna try to pull it off, like, yeah, I just got a new bra. I'm like, what the fuck? Those things are hanging out of your shirt. Astro, never drank, never will, just not into it. Hey, I respect it, bro. I mean, I respect it. Don't matter. I don't need a drink to have a good time either. And that's the thing. I think one of the worst things though in the world, and I think you guys would all agree, is if you're sober and you go to a bar, like you say like 1:30 in the morning and you're sober, how fucking annoying and just stupid drunk people are. Like especially at the late night crowd at a bar on a weekend when it's like closing down and you're sober. Like when you're drunk, you don't notice it. It just doesn't seem that off. But when you're sober, it's like, dude, these fucking people are stupid. Kobe, I used to work at a golf course for 8 years, and we could drink during tournaments. I used to mow fairways and fescue and a lot kind of drunk. Well, hell yeah, you got to do that, baby. Yeah, me and Ben, that's how we met. I've known this Ben kid since he was younger. That kind of sounds weird, but nothing happened. I swear. I waited till he was 18, and I fucked his tight ass. Ben's like, I wish, dude. Well, the thing is, me and Ben actually have a marriage pact. He's had a serious girlfriend for what, 6 years now. I've been married for 3 years. I've been with my wife for 10 years. We have a marriage pact that and it's a good deal for me because Ben, what are you, 23, Ben? I'm 37. When we're both 65, we're gonna divorce our significant others and marry each other. And that's just like in ink. That's just like a deal. So I lied. I wasn't 18. What? Oh God, I'm going to jail. No, 17's fine, right? God damn it. This is getting a lot of control. I still have the Fantasy Pros tight end rankings up here for week 2, just so you know, for reference point, right? Colby, 16 is legal in Arkansas. That might be the best. Like, if you just read that chat without any context, just amazing, bro. Kilgard, I grabbed Ayuk in the late rounds. Think he could have an impact when he's back. Yeah, and the thing is, Ayuk is the perfect late round pick if you have an IR spot or deep benches because he's gonna be fine. Ben says, yeah, the fact Fantasy Pros is still up. I should probably have something else up, but this is supposed to be a fantasy football show, but that's the difference is you're not going to get this from other live streams, other experts, whatever the fuck they are. It's going to be all business, no fun. We've had a lot of good information be thrown around here, a lot of good stuff in the chat, a lot of things talked out. Start, sit, who you want, waivers, all that shit. But this is good. Astro says, is Mixon a great late IR? I don't think so because I don't think he's playing this year. Maybe if he comes back, but he's not going to be the same. He's going to split work with Nick Chubb. That offense looks kind of shitty. Joe Mixon's old. If you have an IR, keep him. But if you have another player get hurt, just drop Mixon until we get news. But the fact that we haven't heard anything and we're already almost into week 2, like Mixon's coming back week 8 earliest is what I would say. Need to put up one of your old unhinged podcast thumbnails. Yeah. Hopefully some of these people can go back and watch some of the wild shit. I mean, there's like, we just had our 300th episode, like full-length podcast. We've done like 305, 310. It's been 4 years. There's some fucking crazy ones, dude. I'm very proud of them, though, because the quality wasn't great, but it was raw. It was real. It's like a time machine, dude. I got to stroll down memory lane. I don't remember most of it, and then I watch it back, and I'm like, I was hammered. We have any other football-related questions? I have a half a beer here, and I have to walk my dog. Those of you that haven't subscribed that are watching, please do. You see what we do around here. I got Ben is my tech guy. He's coming over tomorrow, get all my shit set up. We're going to have way better streams here, not on a phone, from a laptop. Zoom in my boy's story in there. We have 2 faces. He's a handsome guy with 8th grade hair. It's going to be a good time. Astro, the Texans team are Super Bowl contenders with a better O-line. Probably. Their weapons are leave a little bit to be desired, but Nico's a stud. And I still believe in CJ Stroud. I think the hate on him has gone too far. Like, there was people coming into this year saying that Bryce Young's better than CJ Stroud. And how is that looking now? I know Stroud didn't play well week 1, but that was against a tough Rams team. Bryce Young just shit the bed against the Jags, bro. Kilgard, Ridley we're starting this week. I would almost say Ridley is a must start this week. Let's take a look. Or they have him at 37. Not a great matchup, but definitely a better matchup than Denver. They have a worse secondary than Denver and probably a little worse pass rush. So the fact that they have him at 37 is blasphemy. We'll go through the thing here. They have Hollywood Brown over him. I would start Ridley over Debo. I would probably start Ridley over Jameson Williams. I would start Ridley over Odunze. I would start Ridley over Judy. And that's probably the line. I think I'd start Ridley over Myers. So I would have Ridley at like 29 or 28 this week. Good call, Astro. There's nothing Stroud can do with that protection. Hopefully it gets better. Kilgard's grabbing Butte from waivers. Where do they have Butte ranked at? Like 50? They have Douglas ahead of him. I don't even see him. I'm getting a little tipper. Okay, scratch that. They have Travis Hunter at 26. Ibuka at 20. That's pretty nice. They have Devontae Adams ranked ahead of Ibuka. Look at Marvin Harrison. Look at my boy Marv. After 1 week, people are wising up, having him ranked 13th. I guess that's against Carolina. Brian Thomas at 6, huh? It's always good to look at these. I don't like to just like base my start-sit decisions on them, but it's a good reference point to start with. Coleman, Ridley, McLaurin, and Tillman. Man, I love Tillman. Tillman's my dude. I have Purdy and Kittle. Move Kittle to IR. Have Strange and Bryce Young on the bench. Want to stash Bryce, but picking up a quarterback or tight end off waivers. Leaning Gino over Henry and Jay, starting Strange. I would get rid of Bryce Young. Bryce Young's droppable, bro. He has no weapons right now. The trade of Thielen sucks. Coker getting hurt sucks. He's got no weapons. His offensive line's porous. There's so many better options in the wire than Bryce Young. Just no reason to stash him unless he's like your uncle or something. Oh, could he be your uncle? Probably not. He's pretty young. Justin Fields should have been drafted as a starter in every league, so that's how I was operating. So like Bryce Young should be on the waiver wires, and Justin Fields should be in starting lineups. Dead evermore. That's just my take on it. Bryce Young he offers a little bit with his legs, but he has, dude, his only passing game weapon is a rookie. And I like Xavier Legette, but he has just not shown anything, man. Pearsall, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith start 2. Says from Alex. Pearsall, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith. Pearsall, you're starting for sure. And then probably, I think I'm going Pearsall and Devontae Smith, man. Devontae, I think the Eagles are going to have a bounce back game through the air. Devontae is as likely as anyone to score a touchdown. So give me those two. Pearsall for sure. The other two are a toss-up. Pearsall for sure. Zay Flowers with 47% target share. Too low. Yeah, how about that one, man? Carlos says, thoughts on Ibuka? Got CD, Judy, Tet, and Calvin Ridley in a 3-wide receiver league. I mean, Ibuka needs to be started every week. If we look at what we have here, he's at number 20, bro. I know this is just fantasy pros, but like Ibuka, you draft him in the 6th or 7th round in most leagues, unless it was a home league and you got him later. You gotta roll with him. And who I would sit Judy, and I would probably sit McMillan. No, fuck, you gotta start McMillan. So Ibuka, CD, and McMillan are probably the 3 I start, with Ridley being close to McMillan. I was so high on him because of the end of the year last year, but I see what you're saying. Well, here's the thing. He had an awesome 6-game sample. Before that, he had a terrible, the first, I think it was 3 weeks of last year and before he got benched, and then the whole rookie year. And I'm almost willing to throw the rookie year out, but we're talking about 18 games of shit and 6 games of great, and then the first game this year of like, that's shit. Dude, the film was way worse than the stats. So, and he just isn't that player, man. Like, he's not. You watch the Sunday night game with Josh Allen and Lamar. They're mutants out there, bro. Like, they're elite talents. They're fast. They have good arms, and they're great processors. And Bryce Young is just like feeble and small and not that athletic and not that strong on arm. I don't think he's that good of a processor. Like, he just doesn't move the needle for me, right? What's up, Greek? Stroobs, my top waiver wire pickups this week. I'm honestly not really picking up anyone from the wire. Like, I'm not using a waiver claim on too many. Hollywood Brown, I'm using a waiver claim on if I'm hurting at wide receiver and I need some help the next couple weeks. That's the only one I'm using a waiver on. I only use guys that were like really widely available. If there's a guy that shouldn't be available, like if Justin Fields is there, you probably use a waiver claim if you need a quarterback. If Dylan Sampson's available, you probably use a waiver claim on him. But these are the guys that are owned and that are available in every league. I wouldn't use on Quentin Johnston or Butte. Maybe Butte, I wouldn't. Running backs, no. If you have Jonathan Taylor, I'd probably use a waiver claim on DJ Giddens. All right, I'm running out of beer here. We only have 24 likes. If we get up to 40, I'll scratch the 50. If we get up to 40 likes and 10 more subs before I log off, I'm going to give away a free bet. $10, baby. I'll pick someone that subbed and liked, and I'll message you in the chat. Get your information. You place a bet on Sunday. It could be Thursday Night Football too. I'll place it on my account. Venmo you the money if you win. Fannin might be worth it. If you need a tight end, he is worth it. Everyone's going to use it on him. So if you don't have the first waiver claim, you're probably not getting him. Butte is a great guy to grab now and flip next week. I just hate making rash decisions based on 1 week. Fannin might be the one exception because, like, he looks so good and Njoku looks so bad, and we just don't think Njoku's part of their future. So, like, that's the one exception of, like, I think it's more real. And whether I don't think it's real for the next couple of weeks. I don't think you can start him every week and expect tight end 1 production. But I think that down the road, it's going to be a good pickup. And it is week 1. You get the whole season for him. So I just wouldn't be, if I had the number 1 waiver claim, like number 1 already, and like if I had like number 7 or number 8 in a 12-man league, if I get him at that, I'm fine because I wasn't near the top necessarily. If I have the number 1 waiver claim, I'm kind of waiting for a running back. I'm waiting for one of those injuries to hit and getting that top handcuff guy when a guy gets hurt. I think that's more valuable. Playing Miami, though, he should go off and then sell high, but that's me. Oh, you're talking about Butte. Yeah. Well, Miami is bad. The only problem is that they were their defense is so bad, but like if you saw what happened, you don't have to really throw the ball in the second half against them because they can't score any points. So traditionally in the past, it was a great matchup because they put up 25 and give up 35. Now it's like they're putting up 10. So how many pass attempts are they going to have? Do I drop Loveland for Kraft? Oh, yeah, dude. How is Kraft available? Can I play in your league, Zach? Please. Definitely. Loveland is a stash, though. Like, I like Loveland more. Like, that was always the case for Loveland. People that drafted Loveland and started him, it was never going to be, he was never going to play more snaps, at least. He's probably going to run more routes. Um, but he's never, than Komet, but he was never going to play more snaps than Komet because they like Komet. They paid Komet. Loveland's a rookie. He's a situational tight end at this point. He's going to be used like how the Bills use Dalton Kincaid 54, 55, 58% of snaps. He's going to run a decent amount of pass routes. But the difference is Kincaid is tied to Josh Allen, and we have Loveland tied to, I'm not going to call him a bum, but Caleb's not Josh Allen. I guess that's why I'll leave it there. Is this in a 10-man league or what? To have Kraft available? Oh, fuck. I've already been on for 2 hours. That is what happens. Jake says, how do I feel about Quentin Johnston? Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you, bro. Quentin Johnston, I am a little hesitant. I have him on here on the list, man. It's going to be so hard to know when to start him. You're gonna start him next week, and he's gonna go 3 for 12, and then week 3, and then you're gonna bench him, right? And then week 3, he's gonna have 80 yards and a touchdown. It's just he's not consistent, right? He's never been consistent, and I think my big worry for him is Trey Harris. They drafted early, right? He's still gonna be involved at some point during the year. I think for me, if Keenan Allen got hurt, then Quentin Johnston would be an every week starter. So he's probably worth a roster spot, but I'm definitely not using a waiver claim on him. The stats look great. I get it. 2 touchdowns, cool. He had 8 touchdowns last year, but he had 11 games last year of his 17 that were like wide receiver 5 or worse finishes. So that's just who he is. Jake says, to add to my bench for D-Hop. Yeah, D-Hop, I'd rather have Quentin Johnston than D-Hop because D-Hop's just not going to get the snaps. We didn't even see him take a snap until like the end of the second quarter. Had a sweet touchdown, though. I'd rather have Allen than Johnson, not going to lie. Yeah, Keenan's going to be a safer, like he's not going to have as many boom weeks, but he's going to be safe for like 5 for 40, 5 for 50 every week with occasional touchdowns. Johnson is way too valuable. But the thing is, Johnson does have some good upside if there's an injury, right? Whether it be to Ladd or to Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is a dinosaur. But he's worth a roster spot. Like, you could do worse as a bench roster spot because he is a pretty dynamic player. Terrible hands, but dynamic player. You think Bill could be a league winner? JCM, it's looking like it, bro. Austin Eckler is a problem. I know there's only 3 or 4 or 5 running backs in the league in terms of fantasy that get the Bijan Robinson, the Saquon Barkley workload of like 75, 80% of snaps. But Austin Eckler, the reason I know Austin Eckler is going to be involved all year is that Zach Ertz still plays every snap, and Zach Ertz is like, he's dust. But he's a trusted veteran, and Austin Eckler is going to be out there 45% of the snaps every game. That's what it appears to me. So at most, you're getting a 50% player. Now, 50% player that has some juice on a good offense is worth a decent amount. League winner's going to be tough because to be a league winner, you need to be playing more, right? Who you a fan of? I mean, technically a Bears fan, but they kind of blow. So I play fantasy a lot, I gamble a lot, and that's my fandom. But yes, Bears. Cliff does love his fucking vets, man. Greek says, start 2, half PPR, JCM, Sampson, or Warren. Warren and JCM probably. I think Warren is the for sure starter. They're going to use him more this week. They somehow played Kenneth Gainwell like 56% of the snaps. Warren was like 45%. That's going to flip this week. I think he's going to play 60% this week. Arthur Smith's a moron, but I think that's going to happen. So that's my for sure. Oh, go Pack, go. Yeah, I have no issue with the Packers. They're a winning franchise. You guys don't win a lot of Super Bowls, but not compared to the Bears, but relative to the other great organizations. You did really well back in the 50s and 60s. I'll say that about the Packers. But the fact you only won 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers is fucking mind-numbing. I'd be so pissed if I was a Packers fan. 1 Super Bowl with the second or third best quarterback of all time. Got to draft that man a receiver, right? All right, last couple minutes here. I'll answer a few more questions. Anything you guys want to know? It doesn't have to be football related either. If you're in here and you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. I didn't realize I've been on for over like two and a half hours at this point. 2 hours. Not complaining. I obviously like hanging out with you guys. And if there's like always 50 or 60 people in here, I have a hard time getting off because I like to, please people. I'm a people pleaser, dude. So if I saw you in person, I'd be pleasing you in other ways. But answer your questions, have a good time, hopefully make you laugh and smile a little bit. Also, we'll be doing 7 shows a week here. I think Wednesday's the only day I won't be doing a show unless some crazy news breaks. But 2 shows on Sunday, 10 a.m. I'm going to be doing a start-sit Q&A with my boy Story. Sunday night, we'll do a recap of everything. Saturday night, we have our gambling show. We talk about every game, the lines, the leans, player props. Monday, we do a recap of the week. Monday night, also, I do snap shares. We go through every notable snap share. That's something really important to look at, especially early in the year. Cam Ward just got dropped in my 16-man league. How much FAAB would you drop? He's the last starting quarterback. Who's your starter, Greek, is the question. Ooh, 50. This is a good question, man. 50 and 50. My wife's boyfriend thinks I should start. Whoa. Is that that's like a riddle. It starts off with my wife's boyfriend. I don't think I think he's probably trying to sabotage you, bro. Like just from that first start of the statement, like I don't think I'm going to listen to my wife's boyfriend. I'm probably going to want to beat his ass. But my wife's boyfriend thinks I should start Coleman over Waddle. Do you agree? So let's take away the wife's boyfriend aspect. We'll get into that in a minute. Should you start Coleman over Waddle? I don't think, dude, and I'm the biggest Coleman guy. I was talking about all off season. I think I'm still going to start Waddle. I'm going to give it one more week with Waddle. Because when Waddle goes out there and catches a 60-yard touchdown and the Dolphins actually look good, which is probably not a 50% chance, but not 20, and Coleman comes out and goes 4 for 40, you're going to feel like an idiot. If it's the other way around and Coleman goes off again, then whatever. You made a bad decision, but you have Coleman for the rest of the year. So can you just clarify the fact that your wife's boyfriend, is that just like a way to catch my attention? Because it was great. The Dolphins look tough. I mean, they lost to the Colts. I know that, but I still like the NFL can flip so much week to week, guys. And we've seen it. A team looks so bad one week. Usually it's when the coach gets fired, then they look better the next week. But I think there's a chance, man. And Waddle, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Waddle, dude. Let's look what the old pros have on this one. Waddle's at 40, dude. Holy guacamole. Coleman's at 46. Disrespect for that. They have Waddle at 40. Holy shit. Yeah, maybe I'm giving bad advice. I mean, this is what Fantasy Pro says, and I'm not saying it because of Fantasy Pros. I'm saying it from Draft Capital, where you drafted Waddle, where you drafted Coleman. You're not going to find a bigger Coleman fan than me. I have him in like 30% of my best balls. I think I only have him in like 4 or 5 of my redrafts, but like because I wasn't drafting wide receiver around that range. I love Coleman. I love him. I absolutely love him, but I still think you go with Waddle. I think that 1 week we overreact too much. Now, if Coleman scores 14 and Waddle scores 8 this week, or regardless, even if Coleman has they score the same amount, then you probably give up on Waddle. If Waddle can't crack 10 points this week, it's over. But you got to give him one more chance, man. That's how I operate. I start my studs, and Coleman is becoming a stud. He might be a stud. All I can tell you guys is that Keon Coleman, there was a chance he would have finished that game with 3 catches for 30 yards because when the Bills punted with 8 minutes left in the game, he had 3 for 30. They were down 15. Had the Ravens came down and scored, they would have been up by 22 points with 6 minutes left. And I'm pretty sure they would have pulled all their starters. So he would have had 3 for 30. I know he killed it the last 6 minutes of the game. It was unreal. But they're also a run-first team, man. And I think that give Waddle a chance. Who should I start, Walker or Moore? Is that Kenneth Walker and DJ Moore? Slovod? Zach says they made Daniel Jones look like Tom Brady. Is this half PPR, full PPR? I would say that in full PPR you start DJ Moore. In half PPR it's close. I'd probably still start DJ Moore. If it's standard, I'm playing Walker for sure. Play the running back in standard. Non-PPR, you got to start Kenneth Walker. You got to start the running back, man. And I would advise maybe don't play non-PPR. I think half PPR is the most pure. I prefer PPR. Non-PPR is just touchdowns are so overweight, just as overweight as I am. Pearsall over Pickens is crazy. Is that in the rankings? It's not, just because they're in New Orleans and they have nothing there, man. Now the problem is Brock Purdy might not play. But they have Mac Jones, bro. If you remember, the Niners were the highest on Mac Jones. When they made that trade up for Trey Lance, people thought they were going to draft Mac Jones. Kyle Shanahan can make it work with anyone. So I'm not worried. If Mac Jones is a starter, I'm actually not worried about the pass catchers there. Yeah, good call, Slow. Some say in those old leagues, and there's still edges in non-PPR, right? You just got to know how to play your settings. I just do all my prep and everything for half or full PPR, typically full PPR. So playing a non is just like, it's like going to Mars for me. Pearsall over 100 yards week 1, valid ranking. Hey, I bet Pearsall's alt yards. I did 70 plus. He was at 44. I was tempted to go 100 plus for like 7-1, but I think it was like 4-1. I got 70 plus. Top 20, please. Worries with Hendy and Pickens. I'm not. What up, Brian? I'm not worried about Pickens at all. Hendy, I'm worried about the snap share. So I'm not like Hendy is great long term, like not dynasty wise, like long term, as in like this year. Give Hendy 4 or 5 weeks though before he gets his full 60-70% share. He played 30% of the snaps, I think 32%. That's insane, and they were losing the game. Like he's the passing down back, a better pass protector than Ramondre Stevenson. A little worried. I'm still starting Henderson because you're not going to have a better option most likely. I guess if you had Javonte Williams, would you play Javonte Williams or Travion Henderson? That's tough. What do you guys think? Javonte or Henderson, full PPR? I think you still roll with Henderson because he's a big play guy. All it takes is one, baby. All it takes is one play. Brian says, Hawkinson worries me a bit with how slow he was. Should I get Juwan and don't have another tight end? See, I'm worried about Hawkinson. He looked bad. But I think if we're talking about Juwan Johnson versus Hawkinson after 1 week, I think that's a bad conversation to have. I think we stick with our studs. We drafted Hawkinson in the 7th or 8th round for a reason. He's a Pro Bowler, man. He was, and he's still only 28 years old. Like, that was the first game of McCarthy. He didn't look at anyone's way. JJ Jefferson had four targets or 4 catches, 5 targets, whatever. So stick with your studs, man. Deebo Samuel should be up. No, a tough matchup for Deebo, bro. I think that's where's he at? Yeah, that's about right. 36. Montgomery got dropped in my league. Should I drop Blue or Jennings for him? Jaden Blue should not be rostered, Carlos. Jaden Blue is not even active. He's not going to be active week 2. He might not actually make the actual roster for a game till week 4. The coaches just came out and said that he has a lot to work on before he can be active. I think Evans cooks against my Texans. Yeah, this could be a Mike Evans game, man. I see like a 40, 50-yard touchdown for him. Evan Ingram, garbage? Yeah, Evan Ingram is garbage. All right, gentlemen, as much as I hate to leave you guys, I've been on here for 2.5 hours. I'm going to be on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, usually late night. Check around 11. Subscribe to the channel if you could. Get those notifications when I go live. Getting all my technology shit set up tomorrow, so I'll have a way better production here for these live streams. Much more enjoyable for you guys. My podcast partner coming on here, he's really knowledgeable. He's a college football guy too, so he has a lot of insight into these prospects, these rookies, guys coming in. He's a real smart dude, fun dude. Be a great time. So I'll answer a couple more questions. Should I pick up Butte and drop Marks? Yes, drop Woody Marks. Kai says 10-man PPR. I got Allen, Bijan, Jacobs, Devontae, Flowers, Jameson Williams, Kraft. What do you think? I give that a B, bro. I like that. That's it, though. Zach, all you guys, I appreciate it. Next stream, we will get up to the target amount of subs and likes, and I'll give away that free bet. That's always going to be active for every one of these until we start really hitting it every time. Then I'll up it, it's only fair for me. But let's keep it going, man. Tell your friends. Check it out next time. I appreciate you guys. Again, if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. You're going to see me on here a lot. Get some good knowledge, have some good laughs, have some beers. A lot of good fun, dude. I appreciate you guys. Hey, Butger, IR Little. CK's back. All right, I gotta answer X's before I go. I'm gonna answer your question before I go. I'm a man of the people. 12-man, full PPR. We got traded Tyreek, J.K. Dobbins, and Javonte Williams for Josh Jacobs. I don't know, man. If Tyreek comes back, you got cooked in that trade. If he's like anything relative. But Josh Jacobs is by far the best player in that deal. I think that's a wash because he got 2 starting running backs, like borderline starting running backs, and Tyreek Hill. So if Tyreek Hill is anything close to what he used to be, you lost the trade. If Tyreek Hill is what he was last year and like wide receiver 36, you won the trade. But Bucker and Little for my kicker. Little baby. Little's a stud. Keep Little all year. That guy kicks 70-yarders. They're conservative in terms of kicking. So, all right. I don't think it's the worst trade in the world. I understand. I always like to be the one that does the 1 for 3 or 1 for 2 and to get the one player because then I have more open spots in my rosters for like new guys in the waivers. But that one's just a little tough. I'm not saying it's bad. Tyreek Hill could burn you there, but Tyreek Hill also has been awful for a year and a half now. So, all right, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys. I got to get off. Again, if you can sub to the channel, check out my shit. 7 shows a week on here, so you'll be seeing me with way better format next time. So, peace out, gentlemen.